there is a void that needs to be filled. People, young men need guidance from strong Black leaders, and there is a void. And part of the problem is that mentality is that, like, I'm just going to stay in my lane and do what I'm doing, take care of my business, make sure I'm growing. I. You can't want I, and then say I want community.
But for me, and I can't speak for everybody, but for me, a strong Black leader that's a man has to be sacrificial. Why are we looking for peace? It never existed. Jesus Christ.
So do we stay in war all the time?
And learn to accept reality. You know, Alan said the best thing this year. He said, you know, when back in the 80s and everything was just more expensive in terms of real estate, it was like, that's just the norm. Accept it. And I think that we have a problem accepting the norm.
Why should we accept the norm? Slavery was the norm. Right. Like I would not be comfortable being a slave. Like somebody would be like, accept the norm, accept being.
But we are still slaves.
That you're being oppressed.
No.
Accept these whippings real quick. Accept these lashes on your back. I don't want that. Accept this real quick. No, thank you. Like let's Let's fight certain norms that don't benefit humanity.
It will. The thing is, it's only gonna last but so long till we get back to it.
Isn't the whole goal for us to evolve as a species?
It's no evolving. It's just temporary compromising.
Everything evolves.
Just make exceptions.
If we don't evolve,
and 100 years from now, there will be a repeat of something.
If we don't evolve, then we will die.
We're not gonna die. We can't die. You just keep it going.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Eight at the Table. Today we have
Aaron the Renegade. Hey there.
And our special, non-special, but super special.
It's Marie from behind the scenes.
Yes.
It's Rico from in front of the scenes.
And shout out to Amanda. She is at Carnival right now.
Is enjoying herself.
And
twerking.
And
being a what?
Being Black.
I ain't gonna say it.
Being a what? Because y'all know it's gonna come up today.
Well, yeah, the hoes. But we were talking about Black hoes earlier.
Amanda is Black.
No, I'm just saying, like, you know, it's a good segue.
Oh.
He said it. We weren't talking about that, but sure.
So, for those of you that don't know, we were having a conversation prior to filming today, and it all stemmed from... yeah. Well, it all stemmed from this clip, our conversation that we were going to continue have.
Get mad at me for dating outside my race. But I was dating outside of my race because they was doing things better than my race. I'm gonna keep it 100.
Define better.
Well, not better, because I know where she getting ready to go. Not better.
I know. You said they were doing things better. I want to know what better meant.
Not better. I'm going to change that.
I'm trying to save you for the people,
for the culture. Not better. For the culture.
There we go.
Right. Not better.
Pick your son.
I was dating Puerto Rican. I was dating Dominican. I was dating African. I was dating all type of other races besides American Black. Right? They were doing way more of what we expect we want our woman to do more than our American. Our American got real comfortable with...
Give me some examples.
Oh, man. I mean, their mannerisms are different. Like, even my Indian one was from...
Jersey?
One of them countries over there, right?
Sri Lanka?
I didn't have to really say much to do and be treated like a king. You see what I'm saying? A lot of times with our own American Black, they expect so much of us and what we're supposed to do. Like things like, if we go out and eat and we just have a nice dinner, we can go anywhere and eat and get a nice dinner. It had to be Rue Chris, or it had to be this, that, or it had to be this, that. Then I get somebody that's just as fine, a Cuban or a Colombian. They don't care about nothing. They care about you and your household. Even though they still care about the money, but it's not about the money. You understand what I'm trying to say? It's a difference. Not better, but sometimes we get tired of hearing, Birkin bags, sushi.
Do you think that's fair? Because I feel like there's a certain type of woman that does demand that. And to me, I think it depends on the bait you're using and where you're looking. If you're going to go get a model from Instagram that got the BBL, the snatched in stomach, and has all the things that check off money hungry and surface, you're going to get that. Guess what? She don't run them pockets.
Yeah. And he wasn't speaking about race. He was speaking about ethnicity. Culture and ethnicity. Because he's basically saying that if he dates, a Caribbean Black girl, an African Black girl, a Cuban, they differ from dating African Americans. That's not a matter of race. There are cultural implications and ethnicity implications.
Shit, you didn't show us over.
Shit.
Let's go.
See, if you let the last part play, then she actually rebuts what he's saying, and she's like, "Well, if you want a BBL and a snatch waist and all this other stuff, then you know what you're getting into." So I didn't hear that part when I first walked out.
And then he has the audacity. He
wasn't talking about that though, and I think that's why they're all idiots that responded with that. What he was essentially when they were responding and dwelling on the fact of BBLs and whatnot, what he was actually saying is that there was a difference in the behavior or the treatments that he was receiving, not the look, not the mindset or ideology about who is about money. Obviously, there's money that's going to be important to every single ethnic background woman. His main thing that he was speaking on was the behavioral factors and the treatment that he was getting from the other ethnic groups, excluding or in comparison to the African American women. That's what he was saying. So I think that when you've dated all of them, and you have experience with all of them, and I say all of them as women with those different ethnic backgrounds, you can compare it.
Right.
And there's always a comparison to be had, right? So with Italian women, it's going to be different from a Colombian woman. Mm-hmm. With those two, is going to be different from an African, a woman from Africa, or maybe firstborn from Africa, right? And then ultimately, there will all be different from a woman who is born or is native here or has a native background to here, America, for those of you that are watching elsewhere. And then you can actually be able to see the difference in that treatment. And I agree with them because I saw it. And I feel like, nowadays, I feel like it's more, it's now spread across all of them a lot more than when I was growing up. Mm-hmm. So if I say 15 to 20 years ago, white women were predominantly acting white and Spanish women were predominantly acting Spanish. No. Now you see all of them acting what we don't want, which is that ratchetness, which typically at first was displayed from a Black woman, right? Now you kind of can see it in Dominican music. You can see it in, rappers. It doesn't matter who it is. But in the very beginning, if I'm going back 15, 20 years ago, that's where we would see it. And so, like my high school, which I was saying earlier, my high school is very diverse. Mm-hmm. I would go like 30% Black, 30% white, and 40% mixed between the last, 4 or 5 bigger groups in America. And you would see, and it'd be like, well, damn, like, it's not that we didn't like the Black girls in our high school. I don't want to say Black girls, but the African American girls in our high school, mm-hmm. right? Because we didn't put them with the Haitian, the Jamaican. We didn't put them with the African, the Ghanaian. We didn't put them with them. Right? So the American...
Black American.
Yeah. Huh?
Black American.
Yeah, Black American, right? I guess, right?
ADOS, yeah.
ADOS, yeah. Those women had... Their heroes, unfortunately, wasn't somebody that we actually respected in the light.
Who were their heroes? Yeah, who were their heroes?
Well, back then, and she did a great job reforming, but Rihanna was the biggest hoe to start off, right? What? Rihanna was the biggest hoe to start off. We did not want the Rihanna syndrome was real. That's how and she did a great job. She still got bitches dressing naked, right? She was the first one that we saw coming out to be nude, right?
Rihanna was nude?
What?
When was she nude?
I don't remember.
She was the one wearing the see-through shits, like, and now we see it, all of it, like that Rihanna syndrome
that
was
made her a hoe?
Yes.
Yeah, but these fashions recycle themselves. This was happening in the 80s too.
Yeah, Cher was naked. Madonna was naked.
But my group of the people that I was growing up with we didn't exist then. So even if it did recycle itself, we didn't want to see that with our culture, especially at that age, 16, 17, 18, well, 14 to 18, if we talk about high school. So, you know, some of the behaviors that we saw, we didn't want that. We didn't want to see that. We weren't attracted to that, I should say. And it was unfortunate that that was their heroes and that's what they emulated. Not every single one of them, but majority. I mean, now you've seen it spill over across a bunch of different ethnic groups, right? But back then, and I'm assuming that's the only way I can relate to what he's saying too.
Right. But here's the question I have, right? So you're saying their heroes was Rihanna. She was over-sexualized. I guess that's what you're saying, that she was influencing women to dress.
As an entertainer.
Yeah, right. She's
one of many.
Okay, so that's dressing. But what are the traits, the problem where you're like, oh, this is a Black American woman. I don't want to date her because of that. It can't be because of that, just that alone.
It's Caribbean.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, she was the only one that they had, right, to look up to. Well, I mean, they weren't dressing like Beyonce. Beyonce was always the one that no one could be, right? Like, women could never be, they wouldn't even, well, maybe nowadays, but back then.
Why wouldn't they emulate Beyonce?
Because Beyonce was always the one that was the perfect one. Like, and it was too hard to be perfect. So, you know, they more so said, that is what we can never be, but that is something that we strive to be, but we don't actually practice to be. You know, it's like the untouchable. So, but it was easy to be the Rihannas. You know what I'm saying? It was easier to do that. And to be Beyonce in that time frame or have that mindset, it requires a tremendous amount of just self-discipline and self-worth, which is easier to get what you want when you don't have that self-worth.
Are we still talking about high school?
You know, can I just say?
I'm just saying, like, earlier, like, you know, let's just say, like,
I just feel like we are so much, like, we're so harsh with our own. Like, it's insane. In terms of the grace that we'll give to other races, right? Who will practically do the same thing. They will do the exact same thing. But if we as Black women do it, now you're a whore. Now you're the worst. You're a strumpet. You're a dox. You're
What's a strumpet?
I've actually never heard that word.
Strumpet?
Strumpet.
Oh, it's like
wait a minute.
It's like a loose woman.
I think, you know what?
a loose woman, like, does it mean physically loose?
Like, it's like a whore.
A
Streetwalker.
Like I
strumpet. I'm about to say that.
A strumpet, yeah.
Strumpet ass.
But
A gutter snipe.
Remember when seriously? Like, it's like, why do we judge and like are so harsh to our women and give so much grace to other races?
I think that what needs to be understood, and I can say this from having a multicultural family group, every one of these niggas is harsh on their culture, okay? The white people are the Italians are harsh on their Italians. Okay. Don't get it fucked up. The Dominicans are harsh on the fucking Dominicans. Don't get it fucked up. So when we're harsh on our culture as well, we're doing the same thing every single ethnic background is doing. We just don't want to do it.
I actually disagree, because think about how many times like a white kid gets in trouble versus when a black kid gets in trouble. What's it called when they make you more like a childify, or it's some word, sociology word, and then they adultify the Black child.
Oh, always.
I get what you're saying.
And it's always, Johnny, or no, Biff. Biff was a great kid, and you know, he was just being a boy and blah blah blah. But let Rayshawn mess up.
He's a grown man.
17. And the same parents who were saying that their kid was just being a young boy and they mess up or whatever, they're not going to have that same perspective when it comes to Rayshawn.
No.
Well,
so they definitely don't treat, you know, they're definitely going to be harsher on us or somebody that's not their own.
Yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying. I'm speaking about from the inside, speaking and judging the inside. I'm not talking about the outside perspectives. Right?
I don't see, like, yes, they may be hard for you to get better, but I don't see an Irish or an Italian or they don't get on the soapbox to tell you as an Irish woman
they don't
or an Italian woman how you're the worst and this is why I don't want you.
What if they do? And
they don't.
We just don't see it.
No,
because we're not
I'm on their pages.
We see it because unless you live in a skewed corner where you only are exposed to just blackness, then maybe you don't know. But if you are exposed to the world, because it is a very big world, it doesn't happen. It's not a thing that we don't see it. It's not they just don't do it. Yes, you're right. They may be critical of their women, but they're not getting on this soapbox. Like black men are so quick to get on a soapbox and tell every reason why you hate black women.
It's because you have to think majority. I would argue a lot of their success, and when I say they, I mean the other groups.
Yeah,
do not come by the way of selling out and losing your ethics, your moral ethics, and just your moral compass. It doesn't come by way of that. So there might be a lot of white doctors, and obviously there's other variables that play into that. But there's, for example, if I was Middle Eastern, which I do know at one point in time, Kim Kardashian was a disgrace to the Armenian race and to the Middle Eastern culture, right? Because of how she came up.
Okay.
Right? Now, there's very few Kim Kardashians that, have that amount of success doing something like that in the comparisons to the totality of the women or the men of that cultural group. For us, it seems as if we get so quick to do everything else, but to do everything else for success, but something progressive. Right?
What is that?
Yeah. So like we'll go ahead and we can't wait to endorse a sexy red. And we can't wait to say, well, at least she's getting money. Right? We can't wait to do those different things. And literally what it does is it's harming our community. Right? And same thing with black people. It's not with BMF. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the men is the same. We're the quickest to lose our moral compass for our community and just for a taste of money.
Right.
Which is why we get so loud about it, because what they're doing is typically either not in the forefront of everything, so they don't have to address it to the public.
Have you considered that that's a symptom?
I think, here's my thing with this. I do know, and I'm 100% aware of the roots and the causes, right? And this, which we're going to be able to say that in the line of that is a symptom. However, we are now in 2025, and conscious decisions are being made, even though it is a symptom, you still consciously choose it, which makes it not realistically a symptom anymore. It's more so of a choice.
It's still a symptom in the sense that look at, and you brought this up last week, like where our spending power is, where the amount of money that we have as a collective now, and how it's diminishing. And so I'm thinking perhaps that's why, where they're making money, that being an excuse has been acceptable. I'm all for bringing shame back, but I also look at what you're saying. Yes, it's happening. I can't disagree with that, but I look at it as a symptom, because think about, let's say, in the boomers' heyday, when they were in their 30s and 40s, think about, even though it was segregated to an extent back then, it was like the 80s, shit was still kind of rough with interest rates. They were still able to like live a decent life. Maybe one person worked, the other person took care of the 5 kids they had or whatever, whatever. And just having one person, each person had one job, you could live an average life. And I think that now that that's quickly escaping everybody, but probably more quickly escaping us, I think that perhaps that's why people are more accepting of being like, oh, well, they get in the bag.
Right.
She looked like a damn fool, but she get in the bag, And I think that you're gonna always have those types of people. Case in point, OJ. OJ was a nigga, but OJ wanted to separate himself. You know what I mean? And he probably was like, well, I just want to be an athlete and I just want to get my bag. So he thought it was okay to separate himself from the community who essentially supported him to get him to where he was.
Right.
You know, so I think it's happened a lot. But I also think that because shame is lacking, there are more outrageous things happening that we're essentially being okay with, or some people are being okay with, or just being like, ugh, whatever, like let them do what they want to do. You know, just being sort of dismissive.
Right.
Yeah, I'm all for kicking people out of our group. You know, like, listen, if you want to demonstrate that way, you can't. We back in the day, we say we pull your black card. I would love to pull a lot of these celebrities' black cards. You should not be allowed to be associated with our ethnic background if that's how you're going to display yourself, right?
But okay, again, you have to have leaders who are going to operate like that. We rarely see grown men checking other grown men for their piss poor behavior. We rarely see grown women checking other grown women of the same community for their piss poor behavior. So until that is acceptable again, and I think that comes from community. So until we have that same kind of community again, I just don't think we're going to be able to get to the point where that you're referencing.
But we have to, in order to do that, we have to devalue the money. Because we value money so much that if you are doing something that is piss poor, but you're finding a way to make it beneficial, which is really because whoever is the higher ups are going to make sure that you are that representation and continue to fund it.
So how do you do that?
We have to be able to, the start would be able to say, you know what? I don't care if you're getting a bag.
No. How do you devalue the money?
Yeah.
Well, that would go back to having a community.
It goes back to having the public voices not justify bad behavior because of the monetary success that it has. I cannot go on here and say, yo, you know what? BMF is one of the greatest of all time. No, you killed millions in our community, or you have affected millions in our community. A woman can't go up here and say, yo, you know what? Dancing like Sexy Red and Glorilla and talking about popping your pussy is acceptable.
Glorilla and Sexy Red is not the same, just FYI.
I'm just saying, because I've heard Glorilla say it too, right?
She does, but she ain't.
I'm not
talking about her booty hole brown.
But my thing is this.
Ain't no Sexy Red.
But my thing is this. None of it is tolerated on any level, right? Sexy Red is probably the umph. She might be a 10 and Glorilla might be a 6 or a 7. But none of it should be tolerated. None of it should be endorsed by us, right? And if we don't endorse it, then, and it starts from here, then it allows us to actually progress. You mentioned something in a group chat the other day saying how, you wish, or not that, this is not verbatim, please correct me, that you wish that men and women of our color and our native backgrounds did not see sports as the only option, right?
Which rapping.
Sports and rapping as the only option, right? Which, obviously, if you play football, you already know the odds are of you, or any sport, the odds of you actually making this successful is very slim, but yet you dedicate your whole life to this, and then you don't do anything to benefit, your intellect or your education, right? So when we all say these different things, this is where it has to start. The start is here, and we have enough impact for people to say, yo, you know what? All right, let me make sure the children that I have now, I'm going to start telling them, hey, listen, you are 6'5". You don't need to resort to basketball. You know what I'm saying? But it might be beneficial.
That's like, wait a minute.
But again, we can't look at.
It's also.
But
maybe tennis, or pitcher.
Right.
But so this is a perfect example. Like 6'5", you probably have a bit more athletic prowess than the average person. Right. So I think it's okay to expose your kid to these other things. But if they also show that they're good at like art, or they can do like back of the napkin math very easily, or they have like some savant type memory. Like, I mean, put them in math camp and like basketball camp or something. But like they have to see something else. And that's why I always say, like, it's very hard to be something if you don't see it, and I know a lot of people are against like organizations like Jack and Jill because, it's for the bourgeoisie, blah, blah, blah. But I'm telling you, these organizations are not all bourgeoisie kids. And a lot of times you're able to see people and meet people and their parents who do things you never knew existed. And so I remember I was like in 4th grade. My classmate, his dad was like, and literally just maybe until a year or two ago, was the CEO of Texas Children's Hospital in Houston. So pretty much all my life. And I remember being at their house. I didn't even realize how rich they were. But I remember being at their house and somebody was talking about a thoracic surgeon. And so I don't know if I went and looked it up in an encyclopedia or did something. I was like, you know what? Shit, that's what I want to be. I ain't even like science like that, but I wanted to be a thoracic surgeon. You know, and I think that if you're a kid and you just keep saying that, and then you dive into it at some point and you get some type of exposure, you might just end up being a thoracic surgeon. If not, maybe a general surgeon, a plastic surgeon, anything. But until you're exposed to it, you have no idea that it's even possible.
Right.
You literally have no idea.
I think that's part of the problem is in a lot of communities, they don't necessarily have access to these resources. And that's part of why you're thinking your only way out is either through music or sports, because those are things that everyone can see. You can watch the Super Bowl, you can watch a basketball, you can listen to rap music, right? But you may not have in your school, they're not teaching you entrepreneurship.
Or a science center.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like your community, and that's part of the problem. You have to see it. Mm-hmm. It has to be something tangible for you to be like, oh, you were exposed to that. It was very close to you. So you're like, this is something I can do.
I saw something with LeVar Ball the other day, and he played professional football, right? And he, I don't know, maybe practice squad, something. Yeah, I don't know.
Practice squad.
He said, how'd you feel after, you were out? He's like, I didn't care. He said, I had all that money. And he said, I knew I had a jump start on life and that was good enough for me.
But that's one of the things that I think, and I don't know the reason.
But Sexy Red can do, I'm just saying, she could be like.
She could be like a Blac Chyna, Angela White. Yeah, it's so hard. It's like if I was, and I hate to say this, let's just say I was a thief my entire life. Mm-hmm. And I made millions stealing. And I said, you know what, guys?
You was more than a thief if you making millions.
Yeah. and them heist movies. Mm-hmm. And I said, you know what, guys? I'm done with doing heists. I want to do things the right way. Everybody's going to be like, nah, you've already burnt your integrity. Like, we always think that we can regain our integrity after we've publicly destroyed it.
I think in America you can.
Yeah, there's
so many redemption stories. Yeah. Like, I think in America you can.
They love a good redemption story.
Nah, redemption is different than something like doing something one time when you were younger or a couple times when you were younger, but then you made that your career.
Yeah.
And it is different. And the experience, I will say, from dating different ethnic backgrounds, when I date, in comparison to when I date an American Black woman, is the American Black woman is like, if this was a chicken and the egg thing, they have to come first. They're like, what can you do for me? Versus all the other ethnic backgrounds is, what can I do for you as the Black man? Right? So and in return, we shower her with whatever it is that we have. Mm-hmm. So it's like, if I have a Spanish woman and I'm like, the first time I meet her or whatever, and it's not in Colombia, it's not in DR, it's in America, right?
Okay.
And the way she's going to treat you is going to be different from the very, very, very beginning. Okay. Right? It's like, I might have to earn her trust, but I have to earn her trust with her body. With a Black American woman, I have to earn her trust in an entirely different way. Right? And it's like, I'm coming to you guilty before innocent.
Right. Listen, so here's the thing. I'm not disagreeing with you in terms of cultural, like, it's going to have an impact, right? Because even if you take Caribbean, African, whatever, yes, women are taught a little bit different. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I understand that, yes, like I was taught to, having to take out my husband's plate, take care of him, clean, do this, do that. I understand that men enjoy that. What I'm saying to people like him and everything like that, right? There's a cultural reason for that. You can't be mad at Black women and just discount them and say, I'm not even rocking with you guys because you don't do that. Like you just said, what are you going to do for me? How about what are we going to do for each other? Let me teach you how to love me. Let me teach you how to treat me and teach me how to treat you. You don't have to discount an entire race because culturally it's different. It's not the same, and that's okay.
Is this for the men that are saying they don't date Black women, and for these?
You know
men,
what it is? Like ultimately, wrong.
Did he include like African and? No.
Yeah, he dates Africans. He dates Caribbean. He dates different.
So he was talking about American.
Specifically, has women. Issues with like Black African American women.
Okay.
And like, I'm so tired of hearing it.
But
like, I'm tired of hearing that.
You gotta understand that.
Like, be part of the solution. Shut the hell up. Or be part of the solution. I am tired of hearing Black men degrade Black women. Like, okay, I understand you want to be treated a certain way. So rather than sitting there and like putting your foot on somebody's neck, like, you know what? This is my experience, but I want to be with a Black woman, right? Let me meet somebody who's my counterpart. You don't have to meet somebody who's not your counterpart. Like, men will date the worst women and then be like, all Black women are the worst. Like, what do you mean?
I don't think that happened.
Maybe you just pick bad.
Right. Like,
but there's more.
Take accountability for the women you're picking.
What we're trying to say is that there's more bad than there are good.
What?
Right?
Like,
so look, that's what I'm saying it. He said it. So it's like this. If I have the odds of a 60-40 split, I'd rather not gamble. Right? It's more, it's harder to find something that's going to be in my favor than it is that isn't, even if it's close.
But I don't think that's what she's saying. I think what she's saying is that if your desire is to be with somebody else, go beat your feet, do what you want to do. But there's there's no reason for you to down Black. Like you don't ever hear, like you rarely hear anybody be like, man, I love white women, or like a white guy, I love Black women. Man, I can't stand these white hoes. They always not taking baths and they got greasy hair and they always acting crazy, asking for the manager in the store. Right. They just let them be. And then they just go and deal with the Black woman that they want to deal with. You don't ever hear them like down their own. Mexican people too. Mexican men, if they love a white woman, they're not downing Mexican women. They just go and they get them their white queen and go and eat tamales with mayonnaise if they want to. You know what I'm saying? They just don't. I'm just saying it appears, because I don't want to say all, and I don't want to say it's an absolute, but it really does appear that it is Black American men who consistently and very loudly and proudly and in front of everybody, they have to like put down Black American women in order to show love or in order to like show love to the woman that they picked. Why do you have to?
It's not about that. It's very simple. We're gonna go right back to, I'm gonna take a page out of Aaron's book and say, we're bringing shame back. Okay? I'm going to publicly, because I don't like the fact that we are having this situation within our community. So I'm going to publicly tell, because it's not just the ones that I'm sitting next to, it's the ones that are even out there that I want to be able to reach out to and tell them, when I say we, I'm speaking on his behalf, we don't like this, right? Now, it's not about, and I'm going to say again, there's a lot more what it appears to be that are, there's a lot more bad ones than there are good ones in comparison to the other ethnic backgrounds.
That's nonsense. Let me explain to you. Like, here's the thing I don't understand, right? We talk about this need for community. We talk about this need for village, right? I'll give you a perfect example, right? And we'll use the Nation of Islam. Like when they stepped on the scene, what did they do? What were the Black African American women doing? They made sure that they took the women in. They taught the women how to treat the men in leadership position in the Nation of Islam, right? They took the African-American women and said, we don't want you working for the white man. We don't want you doing this. Let me structure you. Let me teach you. Let me lead you. And let me show you how to be treated. In turn, what did the women do? They did it. They followed the lead. Why? Because you had strong Black men with resources that came and gave you a 360 and showed you what you needed. So what I am saying to Black men, if you don't like the way women are being treated or doing, then step up. People can learn. No, because people can learn.
No, they can't.
I just gave you an example of this happened. It happened widespread.
Even if we take that example and I look at the Black women as a whole at that point in time frame, you're saying that there was a small percentage that were coachable, moldable, and able to learn.
And they're not coachable anymore.
No, I'm saying that that's a small percentage of the rest.
No, but what she's saying is she's giving you...
I'm giving you an example that it's possible.
No, we're not talking about anything is fucking possible, right? Possibilities are endless. What we're talking about is the reality. The reality is when it comes down to it, the symptom of a cause is that there is uncoachable, and I feel like there's uncoachable African-American descendant women for at least 3 generations, which is what we were talking about prior to. And the symptom of that, again, is the lack of being able to follow. What I realize is there's a struggle for equality in the very beginning of a American Black man and American Black woman relationship versus the other ethnic backgrounds are not even looking for equality. They just will get equality with their behavior. And when I have to explain to you what my worth is, or when I have to demonstrate what my worth is, endless, it's like our culture, I'm saying our in terms of the African-American culture, our culture the men have to constantly prove and be battle tested throughout the entirety of the relationship. It's not just the beginning.
I don't think it's fair to compare the African-American experience to in terms of the diaspora and everything else. You can't compare it. It's so it's like the way you're rating these things is unfair
because their parents aren't even the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect example. If you're a first generation American and both of your parents are foreign, you're like American in name only.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You are culturally still whatever it is, wherever your parents are from. So maybe you need 2 more generations like down the line to call yourself American. And the ironic thing is that you hear about a lot of like the passport bros, they talk about when the foreign women become Americanized,
right,
that they don't like them anymore either. So I really don't think that it's I don't think it's like a black, it's not like a Black American, white American, whatever. It's truly American culture. Because if you've grown up in a society for the last X amount of years where women actually have been fighting to have access to equal rights, then why would you not have that in you to be seeking equal rights on your job, at school, in your relationship, so on and so forth. And like my Nigerian friends, like I still have friends who literally they're Nigerian when like if I'm not in Nigeria with them, they literally bow to their uncles when they see them. Literally. The first time I saw it, I said, what was you doing over there? She was like, child, that's what we have to do. And I'm like, I had never seen it before, you know, and because I want to say I never even seen them, the same people do it in America. It's only when we were over there. So I think that you have to look at how long that person or that person's family has been in American culture. Because I just don't think it's like a race thing at all.
Right.
What happened is that we watched those same people get hooked on crack. We watched those same people that we thought were, that we held to a high standard become strung out on drugs despite the reasoning, whether it's justifiable or not. And then when we lost respect of our elders, it just the respect level dwindled to a point where we got YNs who have no mercy even for a president, right? So and it's really always come from the simple fact that our elders never picked the torch back up and carried it. You know why? So when I say, okay, look, if this is crazy, but let's just say my daughter grows up and she's going to be 22 in 19 years. Right? And let's just say in 19 years, there was a sexy red, there was a sexy blue, and a sexy magenta. Okay?
All right. Sexy pink.
Sexy pink. Okay? Now, my daughter's only been seeing a bunch of different colored sexies for her entire, upbringing. And now, and let's just say, here's the icing on the cake. The mom said, well, at least she's getting money. Mm-hmm. So now the only person that child is supposed to trust, which is really the mother, is actually validating the person who is actually destroying the community.
Wait, but you're there, right?
Well, I'm just saying for the women.
Back in the day, we had our grandmother, we had a grandfather, and we had respect for them. It wasn't respect that they needed to earn. It was respect that they ran households. They ran other households. People were allowed to come to their house and get paper towels. Well, I don't know if that paper towels back then, but it was almost like a central location.
Butter.
Yeah, anything. It was almost like a central location where you knew you were safe. And I don't think we have those spots nowadays. And I don't think we have those spots nowadays because not that we are begging for a leader, but I don't think we have anybody that we can trust to not be after the money, to not be after the fame, to actually follow. And I think to go back on your point with you saying like, you come into a relationship with, or come to a situation where you meet a black woman and it's automatically having to prove. I think she's seen so many of her own race that she had to question and never followed through with being that leader that they said that they were, is the why that they meet us like that. And I think for us as black men, we don't have anybody like a Martin Luther King or a Malcolm X or Muhammad Ali or just anybody powerful outside of entertainment that we could trust, or even outside of politics where we could be like, you know what, this is who we should look to. And I think if we had more than one to tackle maybe each sector, like a scientist that we could look up to, or a botanist, and then you had somebody who was powerful in sanitation. You know what I mean? Just everywhere we could actually look towards this person and say, this is who I want to model my kids after. And I don't think we have that as a culture.
I do agree that we did lose respect, but I don't agree that we just gave those people respect, those elders respect. They automatically had respect because since the day I can actually remember things, that family, that grandma and that grandfather was doing the shit that they're supposed to be doing.
That's what he said, ain't it?
No. I've never seen them miss a beat. So they earned that respect by their consistency of being able to adult, right? So now when I grow up, I'm not giving them respect just because. I'm giving them respect because they've literally led by example their entire life and my entire life. Now, when I see that same person that I respected on the corner strung out, that I can sell rocks to, now I lost the respect that you've already earned. And I felt like throughout the time frame, collectively, all of the elders have gotten worse. By generation, by generation, by generation. Some of our OGs or our schools or our unks are so not respectable. Why would I respect you? Right? You've done nothing with your life. You led nothing with your life. If anything, the only thing you did was be an opportunist and failed at that every time. And I have to respect you is crazy, right? I don't get, there's no respect had for you, right? So now we sit here and now this is the symptom of it all.
Yeah.
So how do you get back just how do you get back to that where men, just as a general matter, are respecting each other because of what they've done? Does it take their counterparts checking them? I'll give a very small example. Like, you know, a dude that don't take care of his kids, or he openly cheats on his wife, or he done mortgaged their house and gambling their whole house away because he didn't took money out of it. Like, how does the community, or like the people that person, I guess, respects, how do they go about like being like, yo, my man, get your life together?
Well, we don't try to save you. You've already, if you've gotten to this point where listen, I'm not checking somebody that's older than me. You've lived 4 or 5 decades. If you don't get it by now, you're never going to get it. And I had to understand as a kid, majority of people die never getting it, right? So the way that I respect you is, how do you control your house now, or what have you done? I can never, and I'm speaking from a man's standpoint, I can never respect the man who married a hoe. I don't care what you do for the community. I can never respect the man who allows his wife to talk to him any certain type of way, especially in a public setting. I don't care what you do for the community. So I think the counterpart is also a representation of the man, and I'm speaking from a man's perspective, right? Now, same thing with the woman. I can't respect the woman who allows her man to beat on her and stay there. I could love you, but I can't respect you, right? And certain things like that, our elders don't have the respectable characteristics and integrity and moral compass anymore. And I feel like one of the biggest things that I've realized about the elders is that they're, and I'm saying elders as in my elders, not like the 70, 80-year-old elders. I've kind of checked them out. I mean, like the 40 to 60 range.
How old do you think Big Mama was?
Well,
she wasn't 40?
Well, 40 to 60, right?
Right, she was like 60, 70.
Right?
No, Big Mama was definitely in her 60s
She was
at a
60.
minimum.
All right, so let's say 40 to
now.
let's say 40 to 65,
Ain't no Big Mama,
right?
Little Mama.
The 40 to 65 group are the elders that I feel like are the reason why we got everybody. Yeah, the reason why we got everybody striving for fame. I feel like that group, that bracket, was the first one to say, forget working hard, forget being honorable, forget being a role model. I want to be famous. And I don't know when television became a thing for them, like to be a star, but that was all their dreams, and that's what they all chased and failed. So like for us, it's like, that's why you see majority of people want to be entrepreneurs. That's why you see majority of kids want to play sports. That's why you see all these different things that are always associated completely opposite of, hey, just go be a doctor. Hey, you know what? Go learn how to do something with tech, because technology is now the new thing. It's like, nah, I'd rather be a scammer and be on Instagram with $10,000, right? Yeah, at 51 and 15, right? Because the 15-year-olds and the 51-year-olds are the same fucking person.
Ooh, terrible business.
But you get what I'm saying? So like, and I can't speak for the world. I can only speak for myself. But the amount of respectable older men that I've come across is few. That's why at 25, 26 years old, I had in my Instagram bio, big bro. Because the older people were calling me little big bro. Because I was
to come hang out with my husband and his friends and cousins. Because if you ain't got no respectable niggas around you, that's weird.
But they're my age. It's like,
no, I'm saying like older dudes for you to look up to and be like, get advice from. You know, if you want to make a play, you can get information from them. Somebody that's, yo, shit is weird at my house. They gonna tell you how to potentially navigate a bad situation with your wife. Like, it's really bad if you don't have those kind of people around you. Because even in my circle, I can look at the men that my husband has around him that he can go to. I can even look at you and see the men you have around you that you can go to. You know, so I don't know if maybe there's a lack of men. Like,
yeah, but you know what my issue is, and I'm speaking specifically on our community right now, and the elders, the older men. The problem is our community is not in the same position as those other ethnic backgrounds community where the American bosses that are elders can sit there and be quiet.
What you mean? Like
bosses always want to be never seen.
Oh, okay, I got
you. We're not in that place, my brother. Y'all niggas need to be vocal. Y'all niggas need to be on television. Y'all niggas need to be on podcasts because our community has been stripped of that. So if you want to be a boss in silence, then our community is just going to continue to go downhill because it's not like, the white community here in America where, there's that same structure that you said your husband has, but with almost every one of them. For us, it's far few in between. Right? So in our community, that's why and I know Alan loves him, but I always had a problem with Jay-Z. For me, he was never vocal enough for the kids. He was vocal enough for the adults.
What you mean?
Because the way he carried himself and what he spoke about was things that only an adult can understand. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, you mean like in his lyrics or just music? As a person, like how he
both.
Okay.
Everything, right? And so when I'm saying we need leaders, there's people in position, but they rather say I'm staying out the way. But you're staying out the way is allowing us to fall further down.
But you don't think that us staying out of the way means we understand through our experience of how we had to get it, and until we believe that you are on that same path or aligned to our train of thought, then we can't help you. Because we are watching, at our age, we are watching the YNs do dumb shit. And that dumb shit could affect us. So instead of inviting you into our circle that we have locked down solid, we have to trust you. And y'all age group is saying, well, we have to earn your trust.
Well, not trust.
Don't they need the guidance, though? I think that's part of the problem.
Are they guidable?
Yeah, well, I'm sure they are, right? And that's part of the issue is that
Some of them are so far lost.
Listen, you always gonna have people who aren't coachable, who aren't, guidable.
And that's the ones that she was gonna
leave them behind. Yeah. Just leave them behind. And the same thing with the women. Just leave it behind. At this point in time, we don't have time for this. Listen, I think what Rico is saying is there is a void that needs to be filled. Young men need guidance from strong Black leaders, and there is a void. And part of the problem is that mentality is that I'm just going to stay in my lane and do what I'm doing, take care of my business, make sure I'm growing. I. You can't want I, and then say I want community.
But for me, and I can't speak for everybody, but for me, a strong Black leader that's a man has to be sacrificial. He has to be willing.
They don't want to do that either.
He has to be willing to say. He has to be willing.
And his wife.
Yeah, both.
They don't want to do
the whole thing. It can't be a piece of the puzzle, right? It has to be the whole thing. So for me, it's you're not a strong Black leader if you say I'm going to step back to protect my money.
Right.
You're not a leader, in fact, at all. Right. So for me, and I think that's something that we never saw. And I had a long argument with one of my friends a long time ago about this. And I said, because he's like, yo, you want to do all this stuff? They're going to kill you. I'm like, that's the problem. Right. It's and I say this not in a crazy way, but I'm not scared to die for what I believe in if that's going to be the impact that's necessary, which is what the elders had. They had the person who wasn't scared to do, to take those risks to say, this is how you stand 10 toes down. Right. And the worst part is the only people that were left were the ones that were scared to be that leader that they love so much.
Or they were silenced.
Yep. Either or.
Intimidated.
Right. But we don't have that. When was the last time that we've seen in the last, I'm going to say 22 years?
I'll say this. I think that there are some out there, but I think that they're very regional. And I also think that
leaders are a movement.
I think that the leaders are regional and they have their movements in their region. There is no
national leader.
There's not no one. You know what I mean? And I think it's because there's so much information, so many people. Like back then, you only had a few people, And all the people who were in their regions, they were all on one accord. And they were willing to follow a Malcolm. That's the nation. They were willing to follow a Martin. You know, they were willing to follow a Philip Randolph. You know, and I just think that, again, right now we're lacking coordination among us all because we're too comfortable. Because you step out of line, you gonna lose out on this. You lose out on this, you might lose your house. You might, you know what I'm saying? Like right now, we're at a very like
controlled point.
Not even controlled. Like we're just at a very like
scary,
weird moment where like really, if you mess up,
we in check right now. Niggas got us like this and say, "Go ahead, I'll feed you, dumb nigga." And the second that you get out of line, I'm pulling this fucking spoon out and I'm gonna choke you for real.
You know what? You know why? Because of integration. You have to think about back then, we had community because we were self-sufficient. It didn't matter if the man didn't give us a job. We had our own gig because we supported our own community. You know, say that like the towns that, and I'll just use this because it's a very known thing, but like Black Wall Street. That was all built by Black doctors, Black bricklayers, Black plumbers. You know, we had our everything. We were very insulated. So it didn't matter if we spoke out against something. You know what I mean? Because they not putting no money in our pockets, nor are they taking money out of our pockets. Mm-hmm. So we were able to move differently. And this all goes back to my opinion that, and my grandpa say it all the time. He's still alive right now. He said to this day, like, integration was one of the worst things that could have ever happened to us. And I'm actually very inclined to believe it.
And then it'd be a nigga like this that want to be a leader.
I think a lot of times you want to jump into
I think he's good.
We are living in the effects of the crack era. That is the most recent affliction. That's what's got us in our present condition. That we got to be real about that. We talk about this often, and we're going to keep talking about it until niggas get it. The crack era has shaped the behaviors, the dynamics, and the mentality of every Black person that's in the Black community, that's from the Black community. We know somebody, we have been, or close to, in love with, related to somebody who either played a part in the poisoning or got poisoned. We know we got an uncle, a cousin, a brother, a father that went to prison or got killed behind this shit. We got a mother that was strung out or left out here to fend for herself when her husband got sent away or got murdered, or her son, and she got to go to work with that grief every day. This is why we see Black women integrating into corporate America, because they watch their mama struggle and they watch their mama coddle their son out of fear that he would end up like his father or his uncle. So now he's not productive and he end up in the street in the same cycle because he doesn't have any alternatives or ambition, and his mama fear for his life every time he leave outside the goddamn door. Not to mention the police brutality and the police presence. So we got a lot of young Black women that said, fuck that. I ain't finna go to work and work 2 jobs and stress out. I'm gonna go to college. I'm gonna focus on my grades. I'm gonna lock in. I'm gonna get into that corporate world. And that's what we see as an effect of that. Now that's a positive effect from a negative circumstance. But we have to be able to acknowledge these things. A lot of Black people live in the suburbs and middle class. A lot of Black people move to Georgia. Why? Because the conditions in the hood were the remnants of the crack era. These were the effects. They was living in the effects. And when the money goes, the only thing left is violence. So if we can get on the same page, like niggas trying to skip steps ahead. Let's go back to our most recent affliction. Let's focus on the 80s to the present. Understand what happened. Understand why there's been no strong political movements in the Black community. We've tried Black power movements and we've revamped these things online. And we will, and those things will always cycle back. But that starts needs to be the baseline. It doesn't need to be a natural hair movement. That just needs to be a baseline.
Yeah, I don't agree with him at all.
Oh. He just said the same shit you were saying.
No, he did, but he's not in the same structure. The only reason why the crack era was able to happen was because we didn't know our value. We didn't know our heritage. So because we don't know that is not our root, right? Even if we go back to the crack era, right?
What years do you define the crack era as being?
Well, I'm saying he said the 80s, right? So if we say the 70s, the 80s, that's where he's saying, specifically said, let's go back and start there. and work from there. So let's just say 40, 45 years, right? My thing is, the only reason why that was able to happen was because we didn't know. I would even argue in 1980, they probably didn't know about what was really going on during the Great Depression, right? So again, it's just going to be another cycle, because what skipping steps is leaving out the root, and that weed is going to grow right back. So we need to really, really dig deep and find out the truths about what happened post that.
Wait, post
what?
The crack era.
That's now.
Yeah, that's now. Are you saying like...
No,
like
he's saying forget about everything that happened before then and start there.
No, what he's saying is like, look, especially it's what Aaron was saying. In the age of information, there is so much like information going on. Rather than focus on like, people will be like he said, the map is turned around, blacks were the original Jews, like going into like kind of all these metaphysical like conversations and philosophies. He's like, that's great. Certain things should just be a baseline, but let's just go back to the most recent issue and let's deal with that.
My problem is the recent issue is still not a solution.
No. He's saying look back at the most recent affliction so that you can process what has happened and understand how we got here. So we got here from there. So right now we're living in the consequence.
I've been on podcasts since 2018, and I'm gonna tell you, we've been saying this shit specifically to what he's talking to.
But we're still in the same era. Just
No. What I'm saying is we have acknowledged that already. That's done. I don't think we have. It's done. It's been there. It's done. We have acknowledged it. And now we're finally at the point where we're like, okay, how is this able to happen? Who are we as people? What actually did happen? Now we have Aaron coming out and saying, well, guess what? During the Great Depression, our community wasn't really affected. You know why? Because our money wasn't in the banks. Aaron's also saying, hey, you know what? Back then, everything was more insulated, so we didn't have to depend on the white people to fund us or give us jobs. This is all before then, this crack era. So we've already digested that. He needs to catch the fuck up. There's a big difference between the crack era being the emulation of these new rappers versus just the slave-minded idiots getting money for the first fucking time. It did. You got to remember, at one point in time, I can't say this as 100% fact, but at one point in time, the level of ignorance in a sophisticated community was very low. So ignorance is not the product of the crack era. Ignorance was the product of the destruction of our sophisticated era. So these people who are, and even if you're talking about these people who are having cash in their mattresses, they didn't put the money in the bank, right? So where did they learn that from?
Where they learn what?
Keeping the money in the mattress.
From the era from before.
Because they've been doing it.
Thank you, my point. Wait. Thank you. Yes, they've been doing it before the crack era.
But I don't think he was saying money was in the mattress during the crack era.
No, he was saying like having money and just stashing it in the box. And
So like, you have to think about it. Someone like Baron Davis, who does do that, Baron would probably have to have some sort of like information pipeline with like, hey, and not to say he doesn't, because I really don't know. Hey, like I want to reach out to y'all so that y'all can be involved in like, one, setting yourself up for later, but two, also like being impactful to the communities from which you come. But then on top of that, there are people who are doing that. I saw an interview of, what's his name? Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn, he said he would bring his jeweler in, right? And the young guys will come through and he'll also have his money man there, like his financial advisor or whatever, or someone who ran investments. And he said, you couldn't come and see his jeweler and spend money on jewelry without also spending, I think, like an equal amount or something or other on investing in your future. You know, so I really don't think that those are anomalies. I'm gonna be honest. Because I've heard it before.
So this guy that lives in my building, he's a retired NBA player. right? So he introduced me to one of his friends, Jack McClinton, right? And so I was watching his interviews on his Instagram. And you know what he did when he was in the NBA, when he had just got drafted? He said after the games, he said, I made a business card, and I would just give my business card to everybody that was sitting courtside.
The NBA player?
Yeah. And he was saying, this is my business card so I can learn from you. Because after this, I need to still work, right? Now, you know, he's living a great life. But I think that what I really liked about that is the fact that there's a difference between somebody who's eager to grow and a rich idiot.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how much access I give you. You can have all of the, you know, the most influential. Yeah, you gotta want to. You have to have that capacity.
You have to be a learner. You have to have that curiosity.
You probably have to be kind of smart outside.
Yeah.
You have to be smart. That's what.
Right.
There's no that's the thing.
Curious.
You just have to be smart.
Yeah, at least curious. Yeah.
You might not like have all the information, but there has to be a desire to want.
How do I
more.
flip this?
Yeah.
But curiosity is in a way intelligence, right? Yeah, it's a base level. Yeah. It's a baseline, right? So, but again, we're talking about rich idiots before.
These aren't.
There's just nothing I can do, and I say this, and it might shock the internet, but when I look at Africa as being, and from what they say is one of the most resourceful things, resourceful regions with the most valuable materials. And look at how it just now started to really get levels to its potential.
Well, it was colonized.
Well, yeah.
Well,
they just.
But no, even though it was colonized, nobody in the last 30, 40 years, nobody's going in there and just taking what
what? To this day. To this day. To this day.
And I know, listen, I speak to a woman who owns gold mines in Africa since 1991. Listen, there's been an influx of valuable materials there. You saw what happened with Uganda a few years ago, right? Where Uganda found, I think it was equal to $2 trillion. It was like 220,000 pounds of gold that they found. Somewhere in Uganda. And you're like, okay, you start to think about it. It's like, okay, now technically by the gold alone, it is the most richest country in the world.
Right.
But is it?
Don't you think they were hiding that information from the important people?
No, it's out. It's out.
No, but I'm saying when these things happen at the time, I think the way from what I'm hearing, you're saying like, shouldn't Africa be more built up in a sense?
Yeah.
So don't you think that information was suppressed for a reason from certain people to not build it up in our hands?
I don't think it's just that. I think it's a matter of international politics that plays such a pivotal role into that. It's not as simple. It's not even a matter of just the United States. We're talking about like the world.
But they've made deals though.
They made deals, but there was so much corruption.
The corruption is still the same amount.
Bro, can someone please tell me why this whole entire time I thought all of Ethiopia looked like this? Bro, I just literally saw a video of what Ethiopia actually looks like. There is no way, bro. Somebody tell me this is fake. Someone tell me this is not real. I'm starting to think we're the third world country, bro. Let me show you.
Duh. Parts of Ethiopia. That do look like the first picture.
That was not real, bro. Tell me that was fake.
That's probably the capital.
And this is recent
and that's
times.
Usually how it is. Just the capital is built
right?
up. Yeah.
Okay, so again,
this has recently been built.
This information, if none of us have ever seen that,
they were suppressing it.
They were suppressing it. And in order for us to see these things, we have to actually go search for them.
Yep.
Just like we have to search for leaders in the positions where we want to be. Just
I see what
like
you did.
you want. See what I did?
I see what you did.
Just like we talk about.
You can't search for a leader though.
Well, just like how we say,
you can't search for a leader.
Bringing it back to where are all the good men and where are the good women. If we search for a married couple that's positive, we could actually learn from them instead of just seeking out the information from these bitter baby mamas or whatever source. So if we actually go out and do that, or hoes,
you know, like you don't have to be flashy to have class. You know,
women.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Speaking of class,
fuck you.
Black women have the support of a massive group that participates in ratchet behavior and ratchet thinking. Now, white, Asian, and Hispanic, they got ratchet people, but you had to go away from the group to do that. They don't house you.
Not true.
They don't nurture that. The Black community, the massive group accepts it and nurtures it. It's totally backwards. Rather than sending the ratchets away, the massive Black groups bring the ratchets. There's a safe space for them.
Ooh,
when they're confronted, you look like the minority because you are the minority that confronts that culture, and they're the majority.
Right.
Part of it.
She's Dominican, by the way.
It's part truth, part.
I was about to be like,
delusion.
Around.
I think it's part true, part delusion. So that's all I got for her.
Like what?
I just hate it. Like, and I understand because if I'm being real, if I was 20 years old and I look back at my real life at 20 years old and they would have gave me, you know, $5 million to rap about killing people, I would have did it. Right? So, you know, I'm grateful that didn't happen, right? Because now I'm able to do things in a different way, in a different light, with a different mindset. But you know, they know who they're picking when they're empowering these people. They're picking the people who don't have anything. They're picking the people who came up from these terrible areas. And the worst thing is the only validation that they get is us. Even though they pick them, we co-sign them and we help create their value.
We do.
Okay, so that being, let's say that's the problem. Is the solution to that is that like we just start openly like just
rejecting?
Yeah, like blackballing these, you know, do we just say if it's a rapper or a singer or whatever, do we just like say, hey, we're boycotting their music? Do we take a stand like that? Or should we be loud and proud on social media and being like, nah, this don't represent us. Fuck the bullshit. You know, like what do you think is like the most?
You don't think that happens though?
I do think it happens, but I don't know how effective it is. So I'm just wondering like what's the most effective way of like quieting those people?
I feel like the most effective way in our community is that we slow your money down. I think that's all we care about is we've seen how much you're making right now. We see the possibility of where you can go, but being that it's affecting our community and our look, we try to slow it down. I don't think we ever try to stop it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the thing is we don't want this person to get ahead for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel.
But I think you need a leader to do that though.
Well, I mean, you have somebody, and I'm not saying that this is the leader, but you have somebody who's taking a step that way is Kendrick Lamar. Right? He's taking a step in that direction. Right?
No, Alan hate to hear that.
And he's the one that's saying like, listen, I'm exposing the culture vulture. I'm exposing the rappers who are not being progressive for us as a community. And I don't like it. And I never liked it. And I've been, you know, very vocal about me not liking it because they not like us, right? Had to do that. And I do think that he's taking a step in that direction.
Are there any other rappers that are as big as him who have a similar
Now, J. Cole is more like, I'm just chilling. I'm not with the drama.
He's more removed.
Yeah. And he's more so, J. Cole is more so on like a discovery, self-worth, empowerment type of thing.
Right.
I don't know, maybe, but he ain't, because if he was,
he would have been in that beef.
And the reason why Kendrick had a problem with him was because you didn't like this nigga the same way I didn't like that nigga. You just did a song and a tour with that nigga, so what, you need some money too? Because money can't buy me. That's how I took Kendrick's whole approach.
I took Kendrick as an activist and J. Cole as a conformer.
Yeah, I agree. And the activist wwho was once a friend of the person who became a conformer let him know that you're on a chopping block too, and that nigga said, "I'm sorry."
So he checked him.
Yeah, yep,
absolutely.
And he was coachable. He was checked him, and he was coachable. Right?
They canceled J. Cole,
but that's what I'm saying. I don't think it was ever canceled. I think it was, we slowed your money down by not supporting you. He's never canceled.
Yeah,
I don't think you're canceled in the black community unless you do something heinous. Actually, not even heinous. Because you got
always a redemption story.
Yeah, there's a Bill Cosby, there's a Diddy, regardless of what he did or what he did, whatever he didn't do.
Not Kelly.
I was jamming it today at the house.
Music,
Hell no.
But I think a solution, and this has always been my approach, and I hope that in my lifetime, I'm one of the people to carry this out, or at least witness. And I hate this, because I hate the fact that we have to go to white banks to get money. And I don't like that, and I never did. But the fact that we don't fund our own operations is the reason why we have niggas acting out of character.
That's what
right?
Didn't we just say that?
So we need to have a solution for me, or from my perspective, would be, hey, Sony, guess what? I'm opening up my own label. I'm gonna fund my own artists. I'm gonna make my own artists popular in a smaller area. Maybe I start regional, and now they get pop. And now with social media, it'd be so much easier. It'd be so much easier to be a real powerhouse label that's producing progressive music for our communities.
You have to have like-minded people.
Yeah, but you have
like a team.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if you could find a younger version of Kendrick, or like Cordae, who's a conscious rapper, or just there's a bunch of different types of conscious rappers. And we just start to say, you know what? For me, it's not about the money. I got the money, right? I want to make money, enough money to keep the business afloat, but I'm not looking for this to be profitable. I'm looking for this to be impactful. Right. And then that's when you can start to see changes. But right now, if I'm looking for everything from P&L sheet, I'm more likely than not never to jump into something that's going to progress our culture, because the biggest profit is the destruction of our culture.
You know what? And I only know this because he's, I guess, a friend of the family or whatever. But right now, and you know this, you were sitting at the table at the awards thing. Right now, your money can grow so much faster on the Jamaican stock exchange than it can on the one here in the States. And I think that if we want to find better ways for our money to proliferate, it may be doing it in other countries. It may be worth it because, one, we can build their economies, and a lot of our people we know are Caribbean. Damn near all the people I know here is a Dominican, a Jamaican, and a Haitian, But it builds their economy, but it also builds our own economies here, So even just considering another, just thinking outside the box. But again, this is all information.
Yeah.
And I'm not a gatekeeper. So I'm telling everybody, hit me up and I'll put you in contact with the people. But I'm just saying, right now, your money can grow much faster on the Jamaican stock market.
But hasn't that been said? I'm sorry to cut you off, but hasn't that been said too by the guys from Earn Your Leisure, how they're building that city out in Africa?
Ghana, I think.
Yeah.
What they doing? I don't know.
They're gonna. Oh, see, that's what I'm saying. I think we just have to search for that information, and then we have to see. We have to trust the sources. Mm-hmm. I don't think we're very trustworthy in its community because, like he said,
You're right. We're
looking.
You've been burned so many times, and that's part of the.
But I think that's what's holding us back, because what needs to change comes from the impact, but we're looking at the revenue stream of everything at all times. So people aren't trying to be impactful. So you saying people getting a team of rappers or a team of people and saying, hey, invest in us, that sounds great until there's 4 of you. And on that fifth person is ready to sell. That fifth person is done with the plan. The fifth person can't afford to stick with the plan. And I think that's what constantly happens, where somebody on your team kind of turncoats and...
Well, it can't afford it. I don't know if they're a turncoat.
You know what? That happens in
regular business.
Any business. And you know what? It's like maybe you don't see the long-term play, and that's fine, right? Like there's countless stories.
You ain't getting that money back.
Right? There's countless stories where early on that you're like, you know what? I'm a fold. Just buy me out, right?
Yeah.
And the business goes on to be extremely successful. I don't think that just because you might have 1 or 2 people that don't see the long-term vision that you fold. Because if you have a person at like leading kind of this team and they are hungry and they are passionate and they believe, it's going to happen.
But what I'm saying is you have to find a Rico or myself to trust that person who is leading.
Right.
And trust that we trust his long-term vision. And no matter what, we're not going to stop the process, no matter how hard it gets. And I don't think we have that to all be on the same team.
But I think part of that is you have to do your research. It's up to you, right? Because
that's what I'm saying. It's definitely out there.
It's up to the people.
It's definitely out there. Like you just taught the audience something about the Jamaican Stock Exchange.
And if somebody's really about that life, what are they going to do? They're not just going to take Aaron's word for it, right? Because like now...
You can go Google it right now.
Right. You're going to do your so you end up believing it. And that's the thing. Like if Rico leads us into a team and he's like really passionate and we're like, okay, well, let me do some research. Okay, I see his vision. I'm buying into it, right? Even if I have doubts, because I understand what he's doing. I think often people will just follow without not understanding the vision.
Yeah.
They're just following for the moment. And that's the difference, because when somebody understands the vision, they are willing to sacrifice with whoever they're following. That's probably like
I'll say this.
People are being a little lazy.
You also probably gotta threaten the person to kill him if they mess over your money. Because like I be damn if you find me on American Greed talking about I trusted them enough. Baby, somebody gotta go and it ain't gonna be me. Somebody.
And I ain't gonna know what happened.
I love American Greed.
But that's why some people get taken out. They just blindly follow. They're like, hey, I got this really great investment for you.
And they don't do no
return on like just like
100%.
100% return. Oh, like this is gonna change my life. And here, I'll mortgage my house, take everything because you're gonna like what? And now you're upset when everything falls apart. You gotta have to take accountability. Because you
didn't do your part.
Yeah. And now you're like, you're bitter, you're resentful.
So
now you get somebody else
charge. I mean,
maybe, and that's maybe.
But you understand what I'm saying? Like, they gotta be scared. Like, man, just think about it. Like, sometimes you believe in the vision and what they're doing, and a lot of times, and I think this is the case, and probably in more so the case, you believe in the person. So I think believing in a person is probably what gets people, but a lot of times believing in the person and knowing their acumen, knowing their connections, knowing their ability to like be dynamic, like, that they have what it takes to do this thing, So I just think the easiest or the best thing to do is just really do as much due diligence as you can, such that if things do go awry, you don't feel the need to hurt somebody. Yeah.
Nah, but like the thing is, let's be real, and maybe we shouldn't say this on camera, but
don't.
Like I don't believe there's any of the powerhouses that did not resort to crazy things.
Oh no,
right. So
I actually agree.
For me to think that I'm going to be able to do the same without the same, to me, it sounds like it's not realistic. But what I'm actually kind of feel like I'm discovering is that us as a community has lost our purpose, right? We're quick to get successful.
Because we're comfortable. It's because we're comfortable.
But we don't have a purpose. Like I can have money, I can make money. my kids are good.
Maybe a collective purpose. Is that
collective purpose? Yeah. Like, but even if so, like everything is so everything is so singular, right?
Yeah.
My family, my town, or my kids, or it's all my, and it's not anything that's inclusive.
I agree.
That's exactly my.
Or what's your perspective on Black people in America, Black business owners in America being the charity case? Instead of saying, hey, come purchase my product or come buy into my service or my business because I'm good, it's come over and support me because we're the same color.
So I think it's kind of twofold. I think one is, yes, you should absolutely buy whatever product or service that works for you, works for your budget, works for your, wherever you are in life. You might need somebody to come and hang a TV. You might not like your TV perfectly straight. So you willing to, not deal with the best company out there. You know what I mean? But if you're a stickler about stuff like that, then you should go and find the absolute best person out there that does it. However, I do think that like people who are the global majority, but are the minority here in this country, I do think we have to be very conscious of where we spend our dollars, because we want our money to circulate in our communities as much as possible, just like the Mexicans, just like the Jews, just like everybody else. You go to Long Island and it's all Italians or whatever. They want their money to circulate within their community. And I personally don't see anything wrong with that. But I also don't think that a business owner should feel like they should be supported just because they're Black. I think they should feel like, I got the best service, so I'm gonna get those customers, and it's a Black-owned business, so I'm gonna get all the people who are conscious of their dollars and how they spend. They're also gonna come, or they're actually gonna seek it out. They're gonna not best hairdresser or best SaaS computer company or product software company. They're gonna type in Black-owned SaaS best whatever, so you can get the best. And if they happen to be Black-owned, that's even better. But I do think that we have to be more conscious of how our dollars are spent, because we take up a lesser amount of space when it comes to businesses that are owned.
We spend
I think it goes back to,
and we spend
a lot.
Enrico said, and exactly, and we spend a lot.
We spend the most. I think the power is in the branding. Like you know Coke, Pepsi, and I think as Black people we can admit that we love some brands. We love a brand, and if I know what that brand's back behind, which is I can hold this as opposed to like your name, like Hundo. You know what I mean? No disrespect. I'm saying like I can hold.
Anybody want to know Hondo Coke?
No, I'm saying I
selling that at 15.
Hondo Cola.
Yeah.
But I mean, being tied to the brands, I think we move by reputation, and like we know that what we wear, what we speak, how we do things has to have a stamp on it, and it has to have a stamp that other cultures recognize, and I think that's what we care about.
Also, and I just want to be realistic too when I'm thinking about like actual products that you can consume, and even branding, like as logos and colors and color choice and selection. We're playing a fair game. We're playing fair in an unfair game.
Yep.
So when you talk about, and I just thought about this, when we talk about Coca-Cola, we're talking about Coca-Cola, okay, where they were getting people addicted. They were literally putting an addictive drug in it to get you addicted, to build their name and their worth, right? So even when it talks about, now you see like McDonald's logo, the reason why it's yellow and red, what that actually psychologically means to a person. They were playing unfair, and we are trying to play fair in the same exact game. And I don't think that we can be successful like that. Mm-hmm. So that's why I feel we get to that point where it's like, hey, I'm Black owned, support me. Because we have to do the most just to like unprogram your programming, to really see us as the same product or the same service. Now, unfortunately, I don't believe every Black person should be a business owner, right? Because it's giving out a bad rep for a lot of other good Black businesses.
That customer service be tough.
Yeah, and
it seems like the only people with bad customer service and they get away with it is Jamaican restaurants. I don't know.
No vacation, or actually
no here.
You're right, because I ain't gonna lie. The worst,
only places
you want the food.
No, we expect. No, I already expect the service to be bad before I walked in there.
Do you?
Yeah.
That's like the only place that the only business I can think of that the customer service is garbage.
Well, Chinese restaurants too. Like Chinese joints.
Yeah, you're right.
And you know what? And I'm just being real. As a community, it's like sometimes you don't even want to deal with your own community when you're selling products to them. I was in Detroit last weekend, and I'm at this bar. I'm getting food. We just finished filming, and there's a guy and his girl. Is a black guy with a white girl, by the way, right? And just wanted to throw that out there.
I mean, I hope he love his queen.
Well, look, so this nigga was acting crazy. So this is how he problem solved. This is how he problem solved, I guess, the fact that his food was cold and he didn't like it. He says like, yo, come over here. Nah, take this shit. I don't like it. Shit was cold. And then he pushed it. It was cold and it wasn't even good. We out of here. Like, we leaving. And I'm like, damn. Like, I can understand you're upset, but why do we have to, handle this situation that way?
Yeah, that is a.
But you get what I'm saying? Like.
Are you not used to dining?
Feel like white people are even bold enough. They do some snooty.
Oh no,
ways.
they
do some snooty, but like
they'll do it.
But they do it in a different way where it's like it's offensive, but it's not. Yeah, it's like I could never, and they might throw a fucking.
White people are just loud with it.
Yeah, like I can't wait to report this, and it's like, all right, whatever. I fucked up, but like
that's because they have privilege. That's the difference.
Well, can we have some privilege too? Like, because I don't mind you cursing me out, but just have some more privilege. Like,
but we don't dole out the privilege.
Like, use your words.
We're not the privileged dealer.
Yeah.
Like, use your words. You can express that the food is cold. You can express that
and that's
you don't
for anybody.
Like the food.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to yell, and you don't
be a dick.
Yeah. That's just like somebody that was raised in a barn.
Yeah.
I got an email, right? And it was a long complaint. And it was a long complaint.
That would have been me though.
But no, this was a different type of complaint. And here's the worst part. I was not in the wrong. So this person purchased a pair of sunglasses. In the description, it says, will release and ship in 2 to 3 weeks. He purchased it 7 days ago. So now he's like, or she, I don't know what it was.
So they can't read.
Or they didn't do their due diligence, right? So he's like, and this is what I'm talking about. I try to support a black-owned business, and this is what the fuck it is. It's always a problem. It's like, I was like, actually, you're the problem. And I sent the screenshot because I clearly indicated right here that there is going to be a delay in shipping.
I'm good for a screenshot,
right? And then he's like, oh my bad, I'll wait.
You know shit.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna lie.
You really
I made that nigga wait an extra week.
Rico, you really didn't have to say nothing. All you needed to do is snip that one little piece, paste. I do this shit every day.
No, I was about to send a refund because the button is so easy.
I'm gonna tell you what you're not gonna get.
For your review.
Baby, people be like, well, what happened to I don't even respond. I literally go and find the thing and I screen. No, I don't type shit. Do a little snip. It's called a snip. I just paste it and I press send.
Best.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Wait,
my regards.
It says regards on mine.
You gotta hit him with the be well after that too. Be well.
Thanks.
But that's a projection also, right? That comes from a place of almost scarcity in their mindset. So sometimes when it comes,
it's a little self-hating there too.
Can't be moved. Yeah, it
is. It's definitely a little self-hating there.
Moved by everything. Sometimes you have to know that, like, you don't know better. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know better. You weren't taught properly, and so that's why you are behaving the way you're behaving by sending your food back like a gorilla, and or like coming into the car dealership and doing the most. And so, like, sometimes as the person, you just gotta be like, okay, thank you. I appreciate your business. Let me show you the car. Because I some people got to be left behind. I'm tired. Like, we can't take everybody with us.
I'm be honest.
I just got a great idea.
We can't take everybody with us.
Leave them.
You know what I'm saying? Because all you want to do is ruin my day.
Harriet said she would have left them, and leave them.
I would have left them.
Right? Because you can't, some people cannot be convinced. Some people cannot literally have the truth in front of them like this.
And it's not enough.
And the truth is not convincing enough for them to believe what their eyes see and what their ears hear. Leave them.
So like, yo.
Feel no shame about it.
Because all I'm going to do is get upset.
Zero.
Alan was talking to me about the video with President Obama and whoever that athlete was. And he called me during the day, and he was hot. He was so upset, and Alan's like nigga, and I was just like, So
I ain't gonna lie, my is so much. You know what? When I initially saw it, I was like why? You know what I mean? But then I was like, you know what? He young. I know his mom and grandma died when he was kind of young, so maybe he just been out here and ain't nobody really raised him. You know, he just out here.
That's really his story.
Yeah, like his mom and grandma died when he was young and very I think close in time to each other. Yeah.
Where's his father?
I don't know. When I first saw that, I was like, ugh. And then I kind of felt sorry for him. And then I was like, at this point, as many important people that he's around, he actually does know better. There's no reason for him to not know better. And I think that once I kind of saw it later, I was like, you know what? This is a documentary, and it's really just kind of like some hoopers talking. And they talk trash to each other. And then that's why I was like, oh, you know what?
In a different environment, it wouldn't have been that.
A lot of these rich, powerful people be getting taught. First of all, the funny thing is, they actually only respect the ones that belittle them. That's the irony.
In sports.
No, I'm talking about in general, a lot of the big dogs, the person who can tell them about their shit and check them, they find them more courageous because they deal with so much conformity at the other parties, events, and on a daily basis, and everybody just trying to bend over backwards for them. They actually appreciate the backbone, as long as it's not ridiculous. Yeah. But they appreciate the backbone. You know what I'm saying? No Diddy.
A viewer wrote in with a wild dating story. He met a woman in a very untraditional way. She told him that she follows only 3 people on Instagram, and if he could figure out who they were and find her in their followers, she'd go on a date with him. He pulled it off, and on their on their second date, she hit him with an even crazier proposal. She straight up asked him if he wanted to sleep with her. He said yes. Then she said, let's go to the casino. Pick red or black in roulette. Somebody really wrote this in.
I like her. Go ahead.
Pick red or black in roulette. If you win, you can do whatever you want with me. If you lose, you owe me 5 racks.
Ooh, I don't know if I like her.
Now he thinks she's wild and unpredictable, but is she just a thrill seeker, or is this a huge red flag? Should he run with the excitement or run for the hills?
But personally, you get to do what you want. Like, did you win? I want to know.
No, he didn't even go. He's a pussy.
I don't know. I'm gonna leave her where she at. I don't like all that extra in my life. My life I'm a black person in America. I got work stress. I got bill stress. I got everything. I have enough thrills throughout the day.
Thrills.
Like I do. Like some people like that kind of stuff, but I do. I just feel like being black in America, just doing regular stuff, you have an elevated heart rate because you get nervous about something. Like I might not even be speeding. I might not be on the phone. I might just be driving the speed limit, enjoying my little day. If a cop gets behind me, I am 1000% pulling over and turning on the street. Don't even matter. I might not be doing nothing.
That's suspicious.
Yeah,
he about to whoop you.
Yeah.
He can whoop me if he won't, but he gonna be
like, I ain't got nothing.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm just gonna like dip off, but I'm just saying like
he's following you for a minute.
Yeah, like
oh nah, hold on, this was real suspicious behavior.
I'm turning off.
Then when he gets you, he's gonna say where you headed, and then now you don't know what street you're on. He's like, why are you over here?
I'm like, I needed to pull over to check my blood sugar, sir.
Well, that's good. Yeah, you rehearsed yours.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you, like I'm just saying, there's so much stuff that happens. There are just things that like
I don't need the thrill.
Yeah, like I don't need no thrills. I don't need no thrill in my life.
Well, I ain't gonna lie. Like she 5,000 a little too much, but she had me. I like.
Get this crackhead Negro.
I like this.
He want a thrill.
You know, for me, it's not a thrill. It's just
Bye, Rico.
It's just a splash, you know?
Oh my God.
I need, you know what it is? I need something different. You know, I don't.
Excitement.
Yeah, because I already have routine things that I'm doing.
I love a routine now.
But I'm not going to break my routine, but I will love a breather from my routine. And if she can supply that with like, hey, listen, you can do whatever you, first of all, you had me at casino, right? When
You a gambler?
Yes.
Oh, see?
I be gambling with people's lives every day. No, I'm messing around, but
eating 2 worms.
But yeah, I definitely I gamble. I was just,
I'm sorry. The first thing was that he could go out on a date with her, and then he could do whatever he wanted. If he won the casino thing,
no, if he guessed
the Russian roulette. I said
wait, which one? There's 2.
Because I thought the first thing that he won was
the followers.
See, I think you say that from a position of being a woman and never had to be part of the actual chase. That right there, that scenario, like as a man, as like a hunter and hunting women, like the first part of that, I love that part. The second part, casino thing, because you just sound like you're trying to get money out of me. And why?
No. If you win, it's
See, you like that. But let me tell you something about me. If I got you on a date, then that's all my control. I'm not going to leave it up to luck or chance by going to a casino or whatever. Because now we're wasting time. I'm bringing you a casino when we could be doing something else.
Roulette is actually skill. Roulette is skill.
You know who else is skilled? Yeah. You know who else is skilled? Romeo. Romeo's
it's
actually
not 50-50.
If I get you one-on-one.
He said he's skilled and school.
Nah, I'm not. You don't do that. I would never do that. I like my chances the first part of getting her on that date, and then I can control whatever happens. She could.
Not the whole shebang.
So curious. I don't even give a fuck if I win or lose. I just have to negotiate. Instead of 5,000, we'll do 1,000, right?
That's not the.
No. I
on a first date.
No, if I lose,
to give her 1,000.
When I lose, I'm only gonna lose 1,000. Is what I'm saying. I'm not gonna do the 5,000 if I lose.
You don't trust your product.
You know, I'm a roulette player. Spinners be fucking around. They might see you.
You just said it's a skill.
It is, but the thing is, when you just walk in, see, for all my roulette guys and girls, you know, when you walk into a casino and you start looking at the patterns, right? The first thing when you get there, you always ask the spinner, like, "Oh, okay, what numbers did you spin?" So you actually know where to.
Is that like the dealer?
Yeah, the dealer. Okay. So you know where they are at, and you can kind of see if they're floating in the range. You know what I'm saying? So now,
wait, can I ask a question? Just because I don't know roulette, is it like a manual spin, or is it like a button?
They put that ball around.
Well, there's 2. There is an electric one.
Okay, that's what I was.
But I don't fuck with those. You don't know what the fuck you gonna get. I don't lost bad.
But that's what I'm asking, because you know the house is already playing with that.
Yep. No, live spinners only. So live spinners. So there's somebody who's sitting there and they put the little ball in the roulette and they spin that shit.
Wheel of Fortune
that sounds
has.
very 50-50.
Well, you see, I ain't gonna lie. I done took my whole check and put it right there on that motherfucker.
I was serious.
I swear to God.
I love that for you.
When I was like 23 or 24, and I said to myself, I'm challenging myself.
Win?
Yes, I did. I said, I'm going to make $8,000 this month. I have never made $8,000 in a month. And the first thing I did was I took my whole check, which was about $2,500. I put that whole motherfucker right there on black. Pow.
There's a lot of people that do that. They go and buy all the lottery tickets.
Yep. and I won. But that started a bad gambling habit.
I'm sure.
But so her doing
that's why
that.
You got crackhead tendencies.
Wait, did you walk away after you won?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
See, but
you made the 8. Wait.
No, well, I made 5 right then and there, but then I did make 8 later on.
Okay.
But you know what ended up happening was I actually won my first like 6 times going to the casino, but I didn't win big. I would only go with 200-300, and then I win like 600 and 300 profit, and I'd leave.
Okay.
But then at some point, you know, that 300-400 was became regular. Like, now, like, nigga, fuck, I'm going
too much dip on your chip, my boy.
And
That's how they get you.
Yeah. But you know, you climb. It's all about incremental growth. You climb the ladders. You start off playing with $1 chips. Now you're at, you know, you're betting 25. You're betting quarters, and then occasionally you throw in a black chip. That's $100, and then you start playing. If you get the purple, which is the 5, you good. But anyways, I like her, and I would just negotiate the price because I definitely need a little like.
Excitement.
Yeah, I need excitement because honestly,
she's already shown that she's exciting though.
Yeah,
like,
but
all that casino shit is mad extra. I don't
okay, but that's it. But you know that it's still gonna. It's like if the see at some point I gotta know where is her plateau at because the casino is here, I don't know how much further we gonna go because I ain't gonna keep playing games with you, bitch.
Stop right there.
Are you a gambler, Rome?
No, you can tell he ain't no gambler. You can tell he's not a gambler.
No, I'm not a gambler, but you talking about all this extra shit. You already got her on the date while you at the casino.
No, I want to have fun with her. I want to have fun.
So have fun with her.
Nah, like, here's the worst thing about my life.
Oh, shit.
Okay? It's going to be a therapeutic moment.
These are crackhead tendencies. Chasing after that high, boy.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So because I've experienced so much
excitement,
I've experienced things that I know 95% of people are not. Mm-hmm. Right? So if you can add a new experience to my life, that's not chaotic, of course.
Right.
I'm with it. Right? So
you were gambling at the casino with the chick that you had to do all this extra shit.
It's not even about the fucking chick. I just want to win.
So if you want to win, you get that without doing her game. That's how I would win.
No, if I like her, I'm saying I would
do liking this girl. Oh my God.
No. I don't mean like her.
In love now.
No, I mean like I like her. Like she's cool.
Help him, school. Help him.
Nah, he just.
No, he just trying to lay down and shit. Like I'm like, come on, let's go do something fun.
Okay.
Well, you're right, because after about 10 o'clock.
Yeah, like, that nigga be done up. Like, we just got to the casino.
Bro, I'm like,
he did 3 yawns. Well, I'm saying, huh?
And the last one is...
You want to get some espresso or something?
Let me tell you my thrill of chasing.
That boy say when he get in the sheets, he just be...
Why does shoulder go up?
That's his thrill. When the sheets be that cool temperature.
Nah, this is nothing.
He started going like
Listen.
I ain't gonna lie, when I get
start that one leg, just keep on running.
I ain't gonna lie, I do that too when the sheets is nice and cold.
Like a little cricket or something. Nah.
Oh, because they do. They rub their legs.
Yeah, they rub their. They call it. It's a katydid.
Oh, like the name of it is a katydid, or
I don't know. I know I'm right though.
is it cicada?
It's a
Like
katydid.
a cicada?
No, katydid.
The motion.
I could be wrong, but I know I'm right.
We just gonna leave it there. I mean,
I could be wrong, but I know I'm right.
I'm saying like the
because I'm also right because I could have been wrong. And if I could have been wrong, then that make me right.
The thrill is that like you don't got to do all that extra shit. That's I'm saying for me because my thrill would be getting outside of her game because like once I got you on a date.
It's your game
it's
now.
Really, it's really chess or whatever because I already won your game.
Your thrill levels are obviously different.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's really what it is.
His thrill levels are chaotic thrill.
Yeah.
Not chaotic.
My thrill levels are win thrill.
You see, here's the thing. My thing with this situation, it's not about realistically having sex with her because I already know that I can do it.
You ain't got your eyes on the prize. You trying to play. You trying to gamble.
I just want to play now. Now, it's like, you know, have y'all seen the movie Focus with Will Smith?
What's it about?
Basically, like there were thieves and like you know, like what is it called? Like those pickpocketers and stuff like that. But they were like very skilled. In the movie Focus, there's a part where Will Smith is like there's this one Asian guy. He's like a very big gambler. So like the whole thing about Focus is being able to like kind of figure out how to manipulate people out of whatever it is for financial gain. And so the guy had a gambling problem. So what he did was he picked seats that was right next to his.
Will Smith did?
Yeah. And then him and the girl were like betting. But she didn't know that this was all his plan. So like they're betting like stupid shit. Is it going to be a pass or a run on this next play? They're at the football game in the skybox. Gotcha. And, you know, the guy heard and he got excited. And he's like, I just want to play. That's how I feel. Like, I just want to play. That's all. I just want to play, you know?
You don't get your ass scammed.
Hello?
It's all right.
And out of money.
Right?
I ain't gonna get. First of all, if I hand over 5,000, I'll be so upset she'd give me sympathy pussy. Right?
No,
come on, you
paid 5,000 for pussy.
Huh? Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's not new.
Oh,
5,000 is crazy, but
he ain't new to this.
But 5,000 is crazy, but you know. It wasn't the pussy, it was the experience. And they had free alcohol at the casinos, so I could drink away my pain.
I got free alcohol in my house.
Excessive.
No, it wasn't free.
It's not free.
That was not.
It's prepaid.
What do I?
His alcohol in his house.
Yeah.
It's free. It's prepaid.
Okay, so recent studies indicate a significant rise in loneliness among men, with societal discourse often attributing blame to various sources, including women. However, data-driven insights suggest that
Oh no! I promise. I wasn't even doing that. I was legitimately clearing my throat.
Let me clear my throat.
Sorry, I know everybody here is like just so shell shocked.
Well, I was laughing and
I heard his laugh, and I thought y'all.
Oh no! I was legitimately clearing my throat.
I'm laughing at your reaction.
Go ahead, read it, Rome.
Your reaction to.
What would you say? What'd you say the other way?
I wasn't even coming.
My glasses off now. All right. However, data-driven. What's so funny?
You said data.
However, data-driven insights suggest the roots of this issue are multifaceted and deeply ingrained in societal norms and personal behaviors. Understanding these underlying causes is crucial in addressing and mitigating male loneliness. The current landscape of male loneliness. Statistical overview. A 2021 study revealed that 15% of men reported having no close friends, a sharp increase from 3% in 1990.
Yeah, I
15% of men.
Why so?
Yeah, that's what
like friends.
5 times the amount.
Like
Close friends.
People are like.
Do you know what the thing is? It's weird, but they also showed a scale, and I'm not sure how accurate this was, but they had a scale that was going on, that was circulating Instagram about the amount of alcohol that was being purchased, right? And I think
that is why I want to own a liquor store.
But no, look.
Hasn't it decreased?
Yeah. So it was like 23 billion, 25 billion. And by the time they got to this generation now that are of age, it's only 3 billion.
They're doing drugs.
Yeah,
well,
they're doing
they're
gummies.
doing drugs.
But they're actually saying that a lot of it is because they're more in the house. Yeah, they're not going out. They're not going to clubs. Clubs are closing in parts of Europe because they're not partying.
Especially post-COVID.
40 clubs closed in the UK.
They're not going
in. Partying. So they
ain't got no money either. Shit.
But I think that what's happening is that they're just not having actual real connection,
like real life,
physical connections with anybody, whether it be like communication, like you said before, handshakes, and everything's on the internet. It's either I'm on my Xbox on a headset or PS5, or I'm on my phone on Instagram.
What's the
they're living in a digital world.
Age groups of these? I imagine, are these like Z's or
this is generation
or Alpha?
No, it's not.
The Alpha.
It's Gen Z.
Gen Z.
Yeah.
One like right after me.
This has to have something to do with like porn too, though.
I don't know if it has to do with porn.
Porn
I
is
think
also
it's more,
a symptom of this.
I think it's a digital issue in terms of like now people, especially post-COVID, right? Like after the shutdown, people are living their whole entire life at home. Like if you work remotely,
you at home most of your life,
and then you jump on, like you said, the Xbox or whatever, and you talking to people and you're communicating. You're on Instagram, you're on TikTok. Your whole world has become digital, and you don't have to go outside of your house to interact with people. You want to, let's say you want to hook up with somebody, you go on Hinge or whatever, you hook up, and then they come to your house or you run. Do you see what I'm saying? So I think I don't think it's a porn issue. I think it's
porn's a consequence of the issue.
Yeah, but I think it's the way we're living now.
I think because they're in the house, they're actually getting all that information, all that stimulation from porn and Instagram or other sites. So now they're comparing the stuff that they see that is real to what they're probably addicted to, which is porn.
Right.
So they've
it sounds kind of circular, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's probably creating a fantasy. Yeah.
Right.
You know what I just thought? Like, because I do work from home, I literally can go like a day or two without leaving the house. Like the only time I would leave the house is for the gym.
Yep.
And sometimes if I work out in my gym at the house, I might not leave at all.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. That's what's
so I think that it definitely has a lot, like to do with it. But you know, I also think if I was younger, I'd probably be a little bit more pressed to be outside.
You know, you would think so. And
but now I don't. I'm married. I'm at that crib. I like my house. Like
they're not pressed to be outside.
I think, and it's weird. So
you don't think they want to be around like other people?
They don't.
They don't. It's. You know what it is? I think it's more so a parental thing too. If I'm talking about kids, right? Because
wait, you're saying the people that raised these lonely kids?
No, Generation Alpha, which may be like, let's say the last 5 years of that, which is probably still what, maybe like, I don't know, 17, give or take.
Damn, millennials.
2005.
I'm kind of a millennial though.
So they'll be 15. They'll be 15. So yeah.
Elder millennial.
10 days.
No, so I think that all these kids, and I see kids all the time. You know, like even today, I took my daughter, we walked to go pick up Kason from school. Right? So you see all the kids get out of school, they hang out at the corner store, and then they also hang out at the playground, and then they go disperse and go home.
Trespassing.
Right? But then after that, nobody's outside. But it's not just them. It's not like, I don't think it's them. It's really the fear that the parents have of kidnapping.
Like kids aren't outside anymore.
Yeah, kids aren't going outside because it's like, I don't want my kid outside because crazy things are happening. People are getting kidnapped and, you know, or kids are getting kidnapped and, or you're getting lost or something happens where a kid hits you or somebody harms you or you fall and now like when we were 8, 9, 10, 11, I was outside.
He was outside.
Out.
Yeah,
no
now,
phone.
Get out.
On a bike.
Like, get out.
On a bike. Then nobody know where you were for like 8 hours.
Knew nothing.
I come home with a fucking gash on my head.
And you be laughing. Now?
Oh my God. What? We used to be out.
Nobody knew where you were.
Wait, do you remember, it was when we were younger, it may have been like during like the Arthur Ashe AIDS epidemic time when AIDS wasn't totally like known about. And they were saying that people were putting needles in like the movie theater chairs. I ain't gonna lie, to this day, when I go to the theater, I don't care if it's dark in there. I pull my light out. Actually the back of my hand. I'm trying to find where the AIDS needles is at and everything.
That's fucking crazy. But that's what they sell.
And the thing is that you might be right. I don't really be on no conspiracy theory stuff, but maybe
it affects you.
Yeah.
But again, they're playing
every movie I go to, I check out
in this game.
Close to the exit.
They always have. Everything has been fear-based though.
Oh, that's life.
Every single thing.
Can I say one thing, Rico? And I meant to say this earlier when you talked about like playing unfair. And most people who create businesses that become large and successful, at some point they've done something illegal, they've done something shady, they've done something that like they probably did not want to do, but in order to grow, they had to do it. Even if they were like genuinely a good person, but it was like, fuck, it's like, do I grow my business in X, Y, and Z, or do I don't know, provide health care to these people?
Too ethical.
Yeah, I'm joking, but that was a joke, super joke. But I think that a lot of times that Black Americans, and specifically Black Americans, that we get played because of the amount of humanity that we have. And people, because we have humanity, people play on our humanity. And there's a lot of that, like it's so like evident right now. I never really saw it until right now, where you have, again, the 92%, and then what was it, 86% for Black men? It was some
84,
high 80s, yeah.
84, 86.
So let's just say it's 80. Let's say it's 85 and 92. I don't know the men's numbers. I know the Black women was 92. And, you know, typically we're the first ones to like, let's rally, let's get on a call to raise money, let's do X, Y, and Z. But like right now, Black women are really just like chilling.
Stepping back.
Really stepping back and not getting behind movements that we typically would, because I think we have now understood the amount of times that whether it's your money that you put forth, your resources, your time, whatever, we've been played.
We always show up.
Yeah, we always show up.
Always.
For
everybody.
For other people, for other races, for Black men, for Black children, even matter of fact, for kids, period, for children, period. Like we do stand up for other people. And I think that the reason that we have sort of been comfortable with stepping back is that we realize that our humanity is what's been taken advantage of. Because we care about, like, your homegirl at work, she might be like a white chick, but you like her. So you don't want to, she come, oh, they did such and such to me. She be like, girl, let me tell you what you do.
You go fight.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Because she doesn't have the strength.
Or she don't even know the rules how to fight back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Other than crying.
We break the rules.
You ready to just go you show up.
I'll be like, girl, let me tell you what you do.
Yep.
Write this letter, CYA. You know what I'm saying? Like, we'll do all of that. But it's like, it's because now we realize like they've been playing on our humanity. Like everybody wonder, oh, where are the black people? Why y'all not standing up? What happened to all the black and brown unity, this and that? We had it until we didn't. And the thing is that it's sad that black women have had to like really step back. Because I do think that's probably a big part of like what our contribution is to society in this country. But can't do it anymore, especially when it's not to our benefit. And it's not to the benefit, not even to us, but our community.
Sounds tiring.
Oh, I definitely think it is.
Sounds like it's time for war. I don't know why we just don't do what we have to do. Like
you always ready for war.
But I'm not saying like, murder, kill, guns blazing war.
Oh, that's what I would.
No, I mean like war is beef. Like we don't understand that there's a real war at hand.
I agree.
But it's a war at hand, and we're still trying to.
Y'all literally saying the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, yo, why do we sit here and try to do it this, politically correct way?
You're right.
And the politically correct way was only meant so niggas didn't ever surpass wherever the threshold was.
But that's why what Aaron is saying, people are waking up.
But that's the thing. You know why we were doing it that way? Is because of our humanity. Like, I think a lot of times because we know what we've been through. We're not going to necessarily want to see somebody else go through it. I don't even, sometimes you're like, man, I wouldn't even wish it on my own enemy.
Mm-hmm.
I wish it all on that.
It's like, why not?
Why
not?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're my fucking enemy. Why not? You should fucking know Greece. You know what I mean? And I just think that our humanity is played on because we always come from a position. I think Black Americans, it's really hard for me to speak for.
Compassion. It's not even forgiveness.
And it's because compassion. Of us, because we be like, show some grace. No, I'm not showing grace.
It is.
You should show grace to
us. The grace
to each other. Yeah.
No, right. The thing is, my thing is this. Once we do one thing one way, it's hard to differentiate them for different situations.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
So like, if I get into the habit of showing grace and compassion, I subconsciously program myself to do it in other situations.
But you have to know who your enemy is.
Yeah.
Not everybody's your enemy. Like sometimes I'm your ally.
Yeah, but with the times, if you said sometimes, that means you're not really my ally because there's times where
I'm saying like as a whole. Like do you see what I'm saying? Like sometimes that person is your ally. They're not your enemy.
But I don't think that there's such thing as alignment, and sometimes you're on my team and sometimes you're not.
I'm not saying sometime. Okay, let me rephrase it. Some people are not your enemy. They're your ally.
Yeah, but the ones that are your allies, there's no grace that needs to be given because everything is understood.
Yeah.
No. I'm saying we're moving correct, right? Now, if I'm already showing grace, that means I'm making exceptions to my boundaries and my rules. And if I'm making exceptions to my boundaries and my rules because of you and whatever it is that you represent, then I can also find a reason to do the same thing over here and over there and over there and over there. Listen, if you don't fucking play, you still lose. Like, let's make sure that we understand this, okay? If you don't play, you still lose, right? So the only way to play is to play the same way that they play, okay? And they is whoever they is.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm not about to sit here and you're not going to convince me to pick one or the other when I can just pick us. That's not included in either of them.
But the problem with that is that if we do that, it has to be a wholesale movement. It can't be, let's say there's 100 million black people in America. it has to be like 90 million of us who are on that same page for it to make a difference. Otherwise, everybody has to still pick like the best of the worst.
But what I think is this, right? I don't also think that, and maybe I could be wrong, but I don't think that it's going to be something that's solved anytime soon.
It would.
Like being able to pick us.
Our community issues.
Right? But the fast track, in my opinion, is going to be, because, and I don't know if this is a thing, but I wonder how many Martin Luther Kings or Malcolm X's there were that failed before they actually were able to have those two.
They weren't Martin. They was like Jesse King or like DeMarcus King.
But what I'm saying is you have to be somewhere, right? So even if you're not let's just say we're not.
Even if you're not the one, you're the two.
Yeah. Because like,
like Medgar Evers, Philip Randolph. There's a
it's like a ripple.
It's
there's a whole slew. Yeah, there's a whole slew of people.
The snowball effect. So like, we got it, but we have to start it off. Because I mean, I'm not saying that there isn't any that exist right now, but we have
definitely are. Yeah,
but we have to like, so we collectively make the snowball a little bit bigger. Maybe it might not happen in 15, 30, 50, or 100 years, but maybe that, we've impacted the youth to want to get involved. And then by that time, there will be somebody who's the face who have got collectively enough of us to implement change.
And that's typically who it is. Like when you think about it, like Fred Hampton was like, I think under 25. Mm-hmm. Like Huey Newton, I think he was maybe early 30s, but he's like a PhD. Like, like it's always the youth. It's always. And I'm saying the youth because we're actually all far like beyond the ages of like the people that end up doing the work.
Yeah.
To make things happen.
But we plant the seed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you're part of the collective.
Listen, if it was on the table then, not on the table now, that means it was never on the table. So I don't even think it's worth talking about.
I think it's because
what
you got to decide if you want a revolution or if we want reparations. And I think our generation wants the money.
I want revolution.
And I think the younger, what is this generation, whatever y'all call these people, they're ready for a revolution.
What is the revolution? Tell me that. When
this was Rico's talking about going to war.
Pow, pow, pow.
That's the revolution. If we get on one revolutionary mindset,
I actually disagree.
We don't have any. If you're talking about Huey P. Newton and everybody else, those are people of the revolution. There's nobody we can look to for that.
So I think that with economic stability and having an economic increase like across the board, which would be reparations, that in and of itself is a revolution. It literally creates a revolution.
You have to keep us on the same mindset to accept that. The younger generation has convinced us, listen, we're either going to revolt.
They ain't convinced me of shit.
So then you want the reparations.
Oh, yes.
That's what she's saying.
You repair.
I don't believe that reparations is going to be the solution because by the time they
don't post this shit.
Well, by the time they give us reparations, they're going to already have figured out a way
to take it back.
Thank you. So it's a reparation, and we can't be. Revolution is the only way. And I said this before, and I'll say it again. When the foundation of the house has mold, it needs to be torn the fuck down completely, and it needs to be rebuilt and reestablished. Huh?
It just
remediation.
Remediation. Y'all gotta burn down the house. You just need remediation.
So you want the reparations?
No, I need a revolution.
Listen,
you need
to burn the whole house down.
We need to
maybe termite.
Wait, but
termites.
So I'll say this.
Something we gotta rebuild.
Wait, on my last house, I had termites. We had to remediate that bitch. Like we took out all the old shit.
Okay, the foundations is messed up. Just
wait. So I have a question. So if we're talking about revolution, what does that look like?
I knew you were going to say that.
I think it looks like an entirely new government. And I think it looks...
As a whole
for this country, right?
Okay.
As a whole, I think that it looks like everything that we currently have. And the worst part is, I understand that even if it was to happen today, there will be growing pains within it. But we still have to be committed to work through the growing pains. right? Because there has never been equality here. There has never been truth here. There has never been real history shared here. So we have to get to the real facts of everything and figure it out from that point on.
So what he's saying is it's all about the money. We live in the United States of America. It's a capitalistic society. So you always have to follow the dollars, right? So if you follow the dollars, what he's saying, was it Mobile?
Mobile, Alabama.
Right. So what happened is that for 8 months, they had stalled the buses. They weren't riding them hoes. They wasn't giving them no money. They was walking. And obviously it was set up for that. So they could walk. No, but I'm saying like they could walk 2 miles. None of us live 2 miles from our job. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So they could walk their 2 miles. If you were further out, they had a carpool situation set up, or like they had a robot, like a bus, you know, like somebody to go along and pick people up, so on and so forth. Everybody was on one accord, but you also have to remember it was in a city, so it was very easy to mobilize. So going back to like there being regional leaders, it's important. And I'm gonna say it right now, like even though like Jamal Bryant is an incredibly flawed person, I think that him being from a black church in a mega church, if you will, that says a lot, because ain't no other pastor standing up. Who? Because real talk, they could be like, oh, we don't want our pastor doing that. We leaving this church. I think he don't give a damn. And I think he's sort of putting community first. And because so many, even though a lot of people are moving away from the church, there are so many still in the church and involved in the church. And like, I don't even like, do you go to church? Okay, do you go to church?
No.
You go to church?
I do go to church.
Right. So let's just say,
wow.
Well, I go to church occasionally, but let's just say for the most part, we're not your everyday Sunday goers, right?
Oh no, I don't go every Sunday.
Right. Okay. So we're not your everyday like Sunday goers. Nobody on this couch.
Mm-mm.
However, we do still understand the position that the black church holds. I'm a part of the Target Fast, and I don't go to nobody's church up here. You know what I'm saying? There's still a voice. There's still like
power.
The power. And really, this is not a democratic thing. This is a
community thing.
Yeah, this is a community. This is black people and black dollars.
But that's
all it is.
So that's also what I kind of want to steer away from. So like we were using the example about Rosa Parks and the bus company, and then we basically boycotted it for 8 months and they were going bankrupt, which allowed them to change their infrastructure and their rules, right? We can't accept that though. That's not a revolution, right? That is just a Band-Aid. We got to say, fuck the money and fuck the rules. We want, if this was a business,
make our own.
We want equity.
Yeah.
Mm.
I want to be a rule maker. I don't want you to fix the rules for me.
Well, but Rico, I think that's the blueprint. So I think back then there were the financial means to have like full scale to serve everybody. It may not have been there, but I think the means are here now, and I think the also the means to organize are here now.
But so and to churches, and this is just my personal bias.
I already know where you're going.
They're ruled by the money. So if they give them a couple $, they're like, okay, you know what? We've confined. Yeah,
but that's why. But that's why I said Jamal. I really do think that Jamal Bryant is on something.
About it.
Yeah. Exactly.
I agree.
He's on something different right now.
But that's what we need. We need people who, again, and I posted this on my Instagram. It was from Batman, right? And Batman, The Dark Knight, Alfred was talking to Batman, Bruce Wayne, and he was saying that the problem with the Joker is, he had this whole long story and said the problem with the Joker is there's some people that you can't reason with. There's some people that you can't purchase.
Fools.
There's some people that there's nothing you can offer because they just want to see the world burn. Now that's not what we're looking for, but we can't be able to be bribed. Yeah. There cannot be a consensus here. There is no middle ground. The only thing that we can do is say, we want this, and this is equal equity, ability to make rules, laws, legislator, laws and everything else. And I think that's what we gotta go with.
Yeah, you need an ironclad
Yeah, but
because there's always a Judas in the group.
What?
And
that's when we do what Aaron was saying. You know,
always be the issue.
Aaron said, if you have a Judas, you put him in the trunk.
Somebody gotta.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Fuck the brands. The brands are not the loss. All right. Like we have.
It's a start though.
It ain't a start because a lot of these brands that we're talking about are not even in the United States.
No. What? Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'm meaning in the sense of money because again, we don't live in a socialistic society. We don't live in a communist society. Everything over here is capitalism. So everything is about following the money.
You know what? I watched this movie, right? In this movie on Netflix.
Nigga, how many movies you gonna talk about?
Right? Cause I'll be watching.
I ate a Subway the other day when I was watching the movie.
In the movie, it was about this dude, and basically his dad was a drug dealer, and then he got into real estate, and it was based in New Jersey.
What movie?
I forgot what it's called. It's recent. It's like December or November.
Are they on a plane in that movie?
No. So, but he actually went to Harvard, I think it was, and he was selling drugs. He was selling weed in Harvard. Or one of these Ivy League schools. You know what movie I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, he was the only black guy at the Ivy school.
Yes.
And I'll tell you the name in a second.
Sounds good.
And so what ends up happening is once he gets out, right, he beats this case. He said, his whole dream was basically redoing East Orange, right? So he's like, I'm going to get into real estate, but they're never going to lend us the money.
Henry something.
Right? So what we're going to do is we're going to use our white friend from Harvard, and you're going to be the face, and we're going to go ahead and do all this.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm trying to say is if we get to the point where we're doing what we're saying right now, it'll be the same fucking thing, the economics. It'll be the group of white people who are going to use a black face to infiltrate our economics.
They've already done that. That's what they've been doing.
They always do that.
But what I'm saying, this is why that's not a solution, is what I'm trying to say.
I'm saying, no, across businesses. I'm not just saying that. Like, he's in jail right now, but like, let's give the man.
I don't even give a fuck about that because you know what I would love to see? Take the same approach and be like, hey, you know what? I have 43 million people who are registered independent. And then what I'm going to do is if you want to get our vote, we have to have a say-so inside.
You know who can do that, right? So the ironic thing is that like the money is important because that's how you gain political leverage, right? So it's like I get both sides, right?
Like he is no.
But you know who can do what you say, what you saying? Stacey Abrams,
Killer
Mike, both from the same state.
Mm-hmm.
But and the only reason I say this because like Stacey, but do you understand what she was able to do in one election cycle? What I do believe is that because she didn't win, she's doing, I'm going to say I believe, like I actually know she's doing other things. But Stacey Abrams is a person who can mobilize. I don't know what kind of juju she got going on, but she can mobilize a movement and a people. And to be very fair, like her being like, she's not from Georgia, but like her being in the state of Georgia and like that's where her, situation is. And when you have somebody like Killer Mike who's so involved right now, he ain't just talking. He knows exactly what he's talking about. He understands like the ins and out of like politics and like money as it relates to politics and power, so on and so forth. Like really putting them two together, if they can mobilize that movement there, and if it can happen in Atlanta, it can literally be copied in every other big city where there's a strong black population.
Instead of making it regional.
Mm-hmm. Alan, what do you think?
That's what she's saying.
Do it.
That's who can mobilize people to register as independent.
But she's saying if
we're talking about
and push that message, then that would be the revolution that we need.
Right, like not in a theory. She's giving you a tangible method
because they've already done it,
right?
But to get us behind, I ain't gonna say us, but like to get people behind a certain thing, I don't even think they need convincing. I actually think they already know. To be very honest, like Stacey Abrams is like on some like savant genius type stuff. I'm just saying, I think that if there are people who could do that, when it comes to us, it's Stacey Abrams and it's Killer Mike. I really do, because and there are others. I'm not saying there especially in Atlanta, there are others for sure. But I think as far as like being like a beacon and like a voice, and people have shown to follow them, like it's a thing.
Proven model.
Yeah, I think they can do it. And again, if it can happen in Atlanta, that means it can happen in Chicago. That means it can happen in Houston. That means it can happen in Miami. Like any place where there's like a huge Black population, especially an upwardly mobile Black population, I think it can happen. But again, all of this, like if I could just put everything in a nutshell, all of this has to do with community and how we really do need to repair our community, which requires us being responsible for each other. And by being responsible for each other, that means we need to be checking each other. I'm sorry, like we have to start checking bad behavior. I think that is like just number one.
You know what I would say? And I do agree with you. But at times when I think things are really, really, really fucked up,
it's not worth it.
It's not that it's not worth it. It's just that I believe you got to work backwards.
To undo it.
Yeah, what do you mean?
Yeah. So like, because right now I feel like for us to, as a community, to kind of get on board, we done been sold so many dreams by even our own people.
Mm-hmm.
To get on board is not going to work, but I got to be seeing them already doing it to say, you know what? Wow, this is something I should be a part of, and allow the leaders to lead, you know, and then we'll start to have a community. We'll start to hold each other accountable.
But I'm talking about the basic community. I'm just saying, like,
I don't think it's gonna happen.
Really?
Ain't no hope. I mean,
no, damn.
Ain't no hope. Well,
honestly, like Rico, like when I'm talking and I say like community, I'm thinking like my mom's street, right? The people on my mom's street, the older people, they're like my grandmother's age, and they're still alive, whatever. They're still on their homes. They're a part of the thread of our area. And then you have the kids who are next and who own the homes now, and they all know each other. So it's like I can walk down. I remember one day I was like walking down the street and like a fucking dog was like chasing after me and my sister-in-law. It was so ghetto. Jesus Christ. And like a dude who knew
the dog?
No. A dude who knew another dude that knew my uncle, like growing up, I guess in the area, like just like rescued us. He had like some fucking garden shears and like smacked the dog with it. And me and Chandler like was rescued or whatever. But again, that crazy. Right? No, like with fucking garden shears. Like, but that goes back to community. Like they really don't even know me. They know I'm a Joubert. That's all they know. You know what I mean? So they're looking out for me. Like even like the people who've moved on my mom's block and they've only been there, I don't know, like 5-10 years or whatever. They still understand that like there's people around there who've been here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's like a level of like respect and community and like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But I feel like and this is no shade, but places like that have been that way for a long time.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you're right.
But places like, if I look at like where I live right now,
it's a new place.
Everything has been stripped down and now there's new people coming in and
melting pot.
The prices have gone so high that the people who used to live there can't even afford to live there. You know what I'm saying? So, which sometimes we like gentrification, but at the same time it does.
But we have to be a part of it. So that's me and my friend had this conversation the other day because he also is in real estate, and he was like, I'm a part of the problem. He's like, I understand that, but what I also understand is that it's going to happen regardless. And so if it's going to happen regardless, then I need to be a part of it, because at that point, I can control who lives in this house.
Right.
I can control who lives on this block. And I think that it says a lot when you have ownership. Even if you're not a part of that community, you ain't, you just came over there, you trying to get a little piece of the pie, a couple $, you still control who's going to live there. But long story short, I see what you're saying as far as like connecting, but I think if you're a person and you have built a business, whether you're blue collar or not, you've built a business and you've also empowered people, can't nobody say shit to you. Not a one. What they gonna say to you? Oh, you ain't helped nobody else. Have I not?
Well, you haven't helped the person that's complaining.
That's not my problem. See,
I'm not saying you. I'm saying that's usually the issue. And
you're right.
There's always going to be.
There's always going to be one.
This is
you're right.
a circle. Like
you're right.
literally, we have to rebuild the community from the inside out.
Leave them behind.
Well, I'm saying with the ones that are looking to rebuild.
That's it.
I mean, and I don't see, like, when I'm saying this.
Need to go to war. I don't know why y'all do all this talking. This nigga, wow. Everybody bleeds.
But and to be fair, nothing that is like what has been gotten in this country, or even just like conquering colonialism, like conquering other places, without bloodshed, without war. Nobody has achieved anything without that.
Yeah.
I mean, look how they got it. Just saying.
And that's really,
hand it over.
Really, nigga,
killed millions of you just to hand it over.
Rico,
y'all complaining.
That is the biggest scam. That'd be like, oh, the blacks are so violent. We ain't got no history of violence. We have a history it is in the, what is it called? The annals of history.
Like,
you know what I mean? Like, it is recorded who has a history of violence.
Brutality. They have.
Yeah. Not even, brutality.
It's a little different. It's not even violence.
But again,
anymore.
That's why I'm saying we cannot play fair. Like, I get the politics.
You're right. I agree with you.
I'm not with the fair play. You know what I'm saying? When it's all said and done, when enough has been done, then people start to say, you know what? Let's sit down and figure this out.
Because we're going to.
I'm like, nah, we want heads.
Yeah,
you've already taken enough
come
heads.
with the head. You come.
Oh, you come in there with
the head. So
you gotta.
You know what?
And you're gonna pocket, like,
and look. There's casualties of war.
Right.
It's not an economic war.
Honestly, no.
It's not.
I think it's both.
It's a mindset, Alan. It's a mindset. Whether it's economic, whether it's physical, I think what Rico is expressing, again, is kind of like Haiti.
It takes that level.
When you got to that point, everybody was like, we will burn down the whole island and we will die. That is fine.
That's how they feel.
That's what he's saying. He's saying getting to the point where you're like, you know what? I'll just burn down the whole house.
And what was that called? The Haitian Revolution, not the Haitian reparations. So you have to burn
for
the
that.
shit
It's
down.
a mindset. Whether it's like psychological warfare, economic warfare, however it's going to be done. It doesn't have to be. It could be bloodshed. I don't know.
It will.
But what I'm saying, however it is going to be done, it's that mindset where you're like, I will die in this burning house before I remain a slave.
Well put.
The U.S. military has like a quadrillion. I don't even know if that's a number, but it has like a $2 quadrillion like budget. They still developing shit. Like, you can't tell me that.
You know why? Because they're gonna say, I will burn down this house, which means the world, before I allow y'all to come over here and fuck my shit up.
Thank you.
It's all trying to play fair.
That's
in
what
an
I'm
unfair
saying.
game.
Whether it's economic warfare or whatever it is, you're stuck on
all impactful
warfare.
Right, but
it's gonna be bloodshed.
It's just gonna be warfare.
Guys, it's been great. Alan has officially burned all his Gucci. You know, 50 Cent did that.
What did he do?
He burned all his Gucci, yep.
Why?
No, 50 did wear Gucci, and he wore it in 2019 when Gucci and Montclair came out with those coats, and they had the black face on, Young Thug and another person, I forgot, and then everybody boycotted Gucci, and Floyd Mayweather was the one that said, I bought mad shit, I ain't doing it. And then
they probably gave it to
left his ass behind. But Rico, you have a good point. If we, I'm telling you, boycott just one brand.